the spice must flow. Welcome to a special one-shot adventure in Dune, Adventures in the Imperium, a brand new TTRPG from our good friends at Modiphius, who have sponsored this extra special bonus stream. Welcome, everybody! I am going to be your humble games master. I am Mark Sherlock Humes, and I'm joined in this one-shot adventure by... We've got Chris, Trot, and Kim.
Hello.
And on the other side... we have Rhiannon and Katie.
Hello.
Hello.
Just don't do the hand thing.
Yeah. Do the hand thing.
Do the hand thing. Please don't. No Tommy Wombus, but it's fine because we are going to be enjoying the wonders of this very, very cool new TTRPG from our good friends at Modiphius, Dune, Adventures in the Imperium. It is based on the highly popular book Dune and its series, and also the new movies as well, if you're familiar with those, which I believe are out now in cinemas. And we've got a few things to talk about. If you are interested in this game, if you want to check it out for yourself, there is going to be a link in chat to go and check it out. And also, Modiphius always have loads of great bundles going on with things like dice and source books and everything else as well. I know. We'll get onto those in a minute. Okay. But also, we have a very special competition being run during this stream. And Kim, do you want to tell us a little bit more about that while I prepare the special prize?
So, Modiphius have been insanely kind in sending us this limited edition rulebook. I think there's literally only 150 of these made. It is handcrafted,
glorious.
hand-bound. I think that's like a copper plate.
It's like a copper plate.
Yeah.
I brought a special
Put
thing
it on its plinth.
And then let Sam PTZ that bad boy up. So yeah, it's very rare. There's a certificate of authenticity that comes with it. That's how rare it is. I think this is number 104?
109.
109. This is book 109.
It's a metal plate.
And what we're going to do
And wood.
is we're giving this away. We're giving it away. Unfortunately, because it is so expensive, it is quite expensive and very rare, we can only give it away to people in the UK. I'm so sorry. That is because we're going to have to select the premium delivery selection and all of that.
Certificate.
If you are based in the UK and you to be eligible to apply during this stream, ! Giveaway for details on how to put your name in, your hat in the ring to win this very, very special limited edition. The winner will be drawn at the end of this stream. So yeah, and we will be checking that you are in the UK, because if you send me an address that's not in the UK, I'm just going to draw another name.
We'll just keep it for ourselves. No.
What's that K. Richards in Bristol one? Weird.
We had to pry this from Kim's hands.
Yeah, my fingerprints are all.
Listen,
over that.
I gotta say as well, I am not.
Heavy.
It's very heavy. It's beautiful. I have only recently become very immersed in the Dune lore, which I'll get onto in a minute. But this awesome engraving of Shai Hulud, the sandworm, is really, really
with
nice.
a sand rider on it.
Sand rider. He does have a sand rider on it. Perhaps the prophet themselves. We also have some awesome dice that have been sent to us as well. I'm going to be using these.
Oh, it's gone away. It's run away.
Because then, look, I can be like a Fremen.
Peepers.
I've got my peepers full of spice.
Spice peeps. Spice melange.
Spice melange. Oh, they're stuck in my glasses. But we got these cool dice. Who wants a set of these cool dice?
Me. What flavour are they?
We have we have House Harkonnen, Arrakis, House Atreides, and Arrakis melange, the spice.
Harkonnen.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. You need to shave your head up. I've got plans. Don't worry.
Do you want orange or do you want...
I think spice. I quite like the spice, but I don't know. Up to you, man.
I'll take the orange.
Yeah.
Say orange.
Suits my jumperish.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Actually, this suits my character's name a little bit.
Jade.
Yeah, this
we'll get on to that in a minute. So we're getting all the fun stuff out, like competitions and cool dice and stuff like that. If you are not familiar with the Dune universe, I mentioned briefly earlier, I've only recently really come to learn the Dune lore. You don't really need to, because we're going to go over that all in this. Kim is quite well versed, but everyone else is kind of really just learning stuff.
I feel like I learned a lot.
Oh, right, okay. The Kisrach Havanach, or whatever it's called. What is it? Kisrach?
I can never say it. Kisrach Havanach?
Hadanach?
Hadanach?
Yeah, something like
I can never say it. All I can say is the Gom Jabbar!
The Gom Jabbar.
Because I love the Gom Jabbar.
This is a world, this is a very detailed, very cool world with a lot of weird phrases and weird names for things and stuff like that, it's fine. We're going to go all over it with you as well. Also, with the rule set, this is a very different kind of TTRPG than you might be used to from us here on High Rollers. It is very narrative. It is very abstract in a lot of its ways. It's our first time really playing it. I've done my best to learn it. We might get some things wrong, is what I'm saying. We might get some lore wrong. We might get some rules wrong. And that is okay. It's an okay thing to do.
Role play.
It's the beauty of learning a brand new system, and it's part of the fun.
Everything's D20.
Cool.
So if you are a Dune expert and we get some lore wrong, by all means, mention it, but don't expect us to change it, because we're not going to see your message.
It's our world now.
We're not going to see it. Right, with that, and we'll go into some maybe of the core mechanics as we play and stuff like that.
Emergent gameplay.
Emergent gameplay. The general thing you need to know is that it's the 2d20 system from Modiphius. So for most checks, they're going to be rolling 2d20 and trying to roll under their skills and their drives to try and generate successes. This is the very basic element to it. Before we launch into my introduction and set the scene, however, I have a little special something. Because Dune is very much a world all about intrigue and politics and espionage. I thought that for our one-shot, it would be quite fun if everybody had or didn't have a little secret. So I have here a piece of paper for all of you. These pieces of paper may contain 3 options. A secret that is your secret now, and I've written it and you have no choice. It might contain one which has you have no secret, or you may choose to have this secret. Or it might just say, there is no secret, pretend that you are reading a secret. You will not know what the others have.
Interesting.
I will let you read these now whilst I set everything up. So we have Jane.
Thank you.
I also, to state it, if you're thinking like, I can kind of see that there's a lot of writing on that, I wrote Lorem Ipsum gibberish on the one that
did.
I literally
nice.
filled it out.
Slatted on it.
We have Dr. Luca,
Dr. Luke Remdy. Thank you.
Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
We'll introduce your characters in a bit. We'll actually do them in a scene. And then can you subtly pass that to Cara without looking at it, please? Thank you very much. But yeah, have a read of those whilst I set up our little scene. You can go full screen on me. Thank you very much, Sam. Ambition.
Sorry.
Ambition is the sin of the Imperium, and nowhere is ambition found in greater force than upon Arrakis. The vast, endless orange desert world where the spice melange catches on gusts of scorching hot wind. The most important planet in the Imperium, for they who control the spice control the universe. There are 2 cities on Arrakis. Arrakeen, the historical and ancient city of sandstone and memories of the Fremen and the world that was. And Carthag. Carthag, a stark, brutal, and gothic place built upon the rocky shield wall in the northern regions of Arrakis, the only place safe from the sandworms, where a new city could be built, a city that better suits the planet's harsh and draconian masters, House Harkonnen. Black buildings stretch up like clawed fingers on a stone gauntlet, covered in glittering lights and buzzing with tiny dots of flying ornithopters and shuttlecraft coming and going. Unlike Arrakeen, which is a part of Arrakis, Carthag rebels against the desert and seeks to dominate it. Mimicking the great imperial cities of Kaitain, it is a flash of obsidian modernity in a barren world. Though even with their immense wealth and power, House Harkonnen cannot dispel the orange haze that covers the Dark City and its bustling hovercars, towering spires, and glowing lights. For Dune surrenders to no master. As the sun sets on Arrakis, Carthag glitters to life as representatives of the great houses of the Landsraad and its many vassals take to the streets for food, drink, entertainment, and business. We see, along one of these black obsidian roads, a very modern looking city, unlike, as I mentioned, Arrakeen and its stone walls. We see a detailless shape hovering, a transport. It is almost perfectly cylindrical. There is no detailing or obvious exhaust. It just sort of hovers along. And we see a number of these beginning to converge in the glittering, bustling streets of Carthage. In one of these cars, we see a woman dressed in black.
Yep.
As Lady Kara, representative of the Sisterhood of the Bene Gesserit. You are sat, this is a personal transport. There are some other figures in this transport with you. You are sat sort of in the middle row, and beside you is your assistant. She is an acolyte of the Bene Gesserit, not fully trained, but you have seen to put her to use in her training as serving in your role to the house as spy master. And this figure, her name is Zhang Wei. You will want to keep notes, by the way, throughout this entire adventure. There's going to be a lot of names and a lot of things happening. Zhang Wei is your sort of assistant and also helps you keep your network of informants, keeps you apprised of movements so that, you know, you can attend to other matters and things like that as well. And the two of you are kind of discussing some of the recent reports for the house and things like that as you are en route to your destination. You know that in the back of the car, you glance back and you can see Damian, the heir of the house, sat beside another figure who I'll come to momentarily, and they are in a brief discussion. Damian is the heir to the house Dionysus that you serve, Dionysia, I should say Dionysia. Damian is not physically very well. He has a degenerative illness that means he's physically quite weak. He has to walk with aids, and he has a kind of an oxygenator in his nose that connects to a system on his belt. But he is mentally very brilliant. He is a brilliant young mind, nearly mentat level abilities, even though he's never been formally trained. But Zhang Wei kind of catches your attention back as you finish glancing back towards Damian. Lady Kara, there has been one thing I thought I should mention just before we arrive. I've been hearing whispers amongst the Harkonnen forces. The Fremen have been getting very riled up around Carthage. There's been some reports of them actually attacking transports coming in and out of the city. Nothing to worry about, I don't think, and our contacts in the Spacing Guild assure us that everything is fine, but something for us to keep an eye on, I think, perhaps.
Interesting. Is there any reason for an increase in activity?
None that I can hear of. There is... the Fremen and the Harkonnen have been at each other's throats for a while. Rabban is very brutal in his tactics towards them. Some fear that this may be lashing out, but no, this seems to just be part of their sort of guerrilla attacks. They are seeking to disrupt spice transportation as much as possible, and this has some casualties with personal transports as well. But we should be fine. The Spacing Guild and House Harkonnen have assured us of our safety whilst we are visiting Carthage for the event this evening. I will, of course, keep my eyes and ears as open as I can. Is there anything that you wish of me, Lady Kara? Is there anything you would like me to attend to?
Not for now. You've done well, and your reports are concise. Carry on in your duties.
Thank you. And Zhang Wei goes back, and you can see that she's studying various reports on a kind of metal sheet and notepad that she has with her. She will hand to you the thing that is required for this upcoming event, which is a set of tickets. And as the car begins to drive closer, you can see in the distance the destination. House Dionysia, respected amongst the major houses. Your house, House Dionysia, is known for its information gathering, its intelligence, but also has begun to step into the world of the arts and theatre and performance. It is a very important event, as it is something that Duke Isaac, the head of House Dionysia, is seeking to bridge the gap between your minor house and the great House Harkonnen. And that's why Damian and yourself and many other agents of the house have been sent here to oversee the performance and make sure everything goes well and that everyone is best pleased. And you can see this grand pyramid-like shape that is the Ashkoko Theatre ahead, and you can see these floodlights, and it is kind of a big gathering. Many members of the house are there.
Can I have like a quick look over my shoulder to see Damian and, you know...
Yeah, and in fact, as you look back, we kind of follow your glance. If this was a movie, we'd almost follow your expression, and you come out of focus, and we see the back seat come into focus. And Damian is actually balancing a chessboard on the armrest in the back seat of this transport, and next to him is another figure who is playing chess with him, and that figure is Dr. Luca. Rhiannon, what does Dr. Luca look like?
So Dr. Luca has very pale blonde hair pulled back with the suit doctor silver band in his hair, pulling it back into a half ponytail. He's got small eyeglasses on, and he's sitting very upright, very proper. He's got a long black tailcoat on, nice sort of pressed white shirt, very very well dressed, very smart.
Very prim and proper.
Yes, prim and proper.
Right. You, Dr. Luca, have been the house physician of House Dionysia for a long time now, but one of your chief duties has to be look after the house heir, Damian. You identified his degenerative illness, and you've basically been treating him most of his life. He is perfectly capable. The disease is incurable, but it is manageable, and that is one of the reasons that you often spend most of your time with Damian. Just attending to him, making sure that he's well, making sure he gets his medication and everything is fine. And you've developed a friendship with this young man. He's brilliant. He's very intelligent, and you've taught him much that you know and that you can pass on. And this kind of friendship has developed. And, very routinely, you playing chess with Damian has become like a common occurrence between you. And he puts you into check. And he's just like, I think I have you, Doctor. I'm not sure how you can get out of this one. And he kind of examines the board. And he's kind of got that cheeky... He's a teenager. He's maybe 15, 14. So he's kind of got that teenage cockiness. He does kind of cough a little bit, and he adjusts his rebreather in his nose that goes round his ear into his belt. But he kind of looks at the board and I've got you with this one.
Very well, very, very good, Damian. Looks like you've upped your game. You've tried some unusual tactics this time.
I've been studying a few things, yes, and Father's been teaching me a lot about military tactics, so I thought that I could apply some of them to our game.
You've applied yourself very well. There was a couple of moves I didn't spot there. Very good, well done.
Do you want to make a test to see if you can actually figure out maybe a way to beat Damian?
Yeah.
So this is just as a good option for us to kind of learn the rules a little bit here. So I think that you've got, so the way that this works is I pick the skill that I think is most applicable. Okay. You can suggest it and say well, actually, could it be more this? Or I'm trying to do more something along the lines of this. But generally, I pick the skill, and then you will pick something called your drive. And your drive represents, rather than physical things like strength or dexterity or intelligence, your drives are literally things that drive you. Duty, faith, justice, power, truth. So, for example, power is what you want, and it's getting what you want. Truth is what the facts are. Faith is what your heart says. Justice is what's right. Duty is what is your responsibility. And so in this, I think that this seems like a mental challenge, which is understand, the skill, understand. And then what do you think, what kind of drive would Dr. Luca be putting behind this? What do you think drives him? Is this you want to, win? Is this you kind of want to bring out the best in Damian?
Yeah, I think that. I was looking at duty. People are the true strength of the great house. So bolstering up.
And your responsibilities as a doctor is to nurture this young man, right? So I'd say that. Now, the other question I have there is, there's a couple of other things, is on your skills, under understand, do you have any focuses?
I do in surgery.
Okay, so those aren't going to apply here.
No.
And then my next question is, under your duty drive, do you have a duty statement? This is like a little sentence that we wrote as part of character creation.
Duty drive.
So did you write a little statement? So it'll be under your duties, and there'll be a box for a little statement, like a sentence.
Yeah, people are the true strength of the great house.
I mean, that sounds like that's very much in keeping with what you're doing. What that means is if your drive statement applies to a check you're making, you have a special resource. Everybody has 1 point of this called determination. And you can spend determination to do things like re-roll the dice, to give you an automatic critical success on one of them, to do a bunch of cool stuff with it, basically. But it only applies if your drive statement aligns with what you're trying to do. If your drive statement doesn't align with what you're trying to do, then we go into something called challenging your drive, where it might be in competition or going against what you believe in. But it sounds like this is a pretty easy thing for Dr. Luca. You know, this definitely aligns. So this is 2d20. You know, it doesn't sound like you've got any assets or traits that are going to help you on here, unless there's anything you can think of that, like, would this give me a benefit or anything like that?
No, nothing in my assets or anything.
All right. Well, then I'm just going to say that this is going to be an average test, so you need 1 success. So you need to get the combination of your understand and your duty drive. So what is that?
So 7 and 8, so 15.
So you need like under a 15 on at least one of these D20s.
Okay. 14, 19.
14. So you get 1 success.
Nice.
So you don't gain any momentum from this, but you actually realize that in Damian's kind of cockiness, he's overlooked a move. And you recognize that move, you move the piece, and now he's in check. And very quickly, you turn the game around and you checkmate. And he's like, how did I not see... How did I not see that?
Never leave yourself open.
All right. And he's kind of got that teenager thing where he's like, oh, God, I thought I had you. And he's kind of annoyed. And he resets the pieces and he starts playing by himself, trying to replicate the move that you just did. Like, just trying to, like, get it into his mind as a tactic.
Can't forget the fundamentals, Damian, even though you've learnt new things.
Yeah. At that point, Dr. Luca, as you kind of, like, say that to him, you look up and you see Lady Cara, the Bene Gesserit sort of advisor, and the Spy Master. You would know that Lady Cara acts in House Dionysia as the Spy Master. And I'll throw it back because, Kim, I didn't actually give you a chance to describe Lady Cara to us.
I very much just imagine, like you say, all black, long draping sleeves, tasteful jewelry. That's strange, yeah. I kind of almost imagine she has like a half veil as well. I tried to make one for today, but I didn't make it. But like
you even asked me if I had one, and I sadly didn't.
Like a half black lace veil, just kind of covering her eyes a little bit.
Sure.
But you could probably see her eyes kind of glinting through the veil as she kind of takes this scene in, and you'd probably see a little bit of like maybe pride, and then like and then she'll be like, Lord Damian, please do remember that the house is on show tonight and everyone will be watching. No games during the performance.
Of course, Lady Cara, of course. I am, father and mother have entrusted me with this, and I know that it's very important for the house. And our guests at House Harkonnen have been very gracious. No, I am aware. I wanted to get 1 game in with Dr. Luca before we arrived. And he kind of like nods his head like, yeah, and he packs the board up and he kind of pats it away. As that happens, we see the shuttle car basically make the rest of its journey, pull up in front of this theatre. And we follow as the camera begins leading its way in. And we're actually going to pull onto, we see a figure kind of speaking with several guards. Some of them look like they are dressed in the same emblem and house colours as House Dionysia. But Trot, do you want to describe what Kyle looks like?
Kyle looks like Jason Momoa.
Okay, so like long hair.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
He's got nice tan skin. He's got big bushy eyebrows and very long hair that's tied back in a ponytail. A big beard, but not too big. Just perfect, really. He's big, got a large frame. He towers over most people. But he's got quite a lithe figure as well. He's quite athletic looking. And today, although he's wearing his guard attire as a sword master, he's also got a bit of formality to it. He's wearing some gloves as well, and he's trying to look the part for this new play. Yeah,
and you are currently in the process of checking in with that security. Basically, you're doing the rounds of like, that Damian is coming here, that the members of the house are going to be here, but also members of the greater houses, and you are basically checking in with security. You have, I'm going to give you a temporary asset here that you can like leverage. You might want to just write this on a scrap piece of paper or on a note, because it's only temporary. It's only going to last for whilst you are here at the theatre. I'm going to give you a unit of personal guard. You basically, and this will represent sort of like a handful of troopers that are House Dionysia troopers. Now, there are also the iconic bald-headed, black-armored House Harkonnen guards here. They're watching the streets and the buildings and things like that, but you have this personal retinue of people that are there for you and for the house to watch over. And you're kind of just checking in with them, getting a security briefing. Nothing to report, Swordmaster. Yeah, we've looked around. The Harkonnens have got this place locked down. Like, honestly, the biggest thing we've got to worry about here is, I don't know, a paper cut, broken glass, something like that.
Hey. Eddie, soldier.
All right, okay.
Look, we just got to look the part. Am I right?
That's right, yeah. And they're all kind of in the same. They've dressed up. They've got their nice uniforms on. You all have, like, your shield, your personal deflector shield and stuff right ready at your belt. They've got their knives kind of sheathed, but they're more ceremonial. They look very nice. And they're all kind of, like, at attention.
Look, just puff your chests out when the important people come in.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Easy.
absolutely, absolutely, sir. And they kind of give you a salute.
Should be pretty straightforward, but hey, this is an important night for the Dionysia.
That's right, sir. And they kind of check and say, we should probably check in with Advisor Jade, with Scholar Jade. Like, she's setting up backstage. Do you want me to go and check in with her and make sure that everything's...
I got this.
Okay, sure. And we kind of follow you as you make your way into the theatre, move your way through the backstage, through these little corridors where you can see performers coming and going, technicians and things like that. And we come across another figure who is in the process of kind of checking in with everybody, just making sure that everything's set up as we see Jade. And Katie, do you want to describe what Jade looks like to us?
Jade has sort of like shoulder length, dark, poker straight hair, very sharp features. She's probably wearing relatively flowy kind of clothing. Mm-hmm. So, and she's walking about really like at quite a quick pace, checking in with multiple things around the theatre with a notepad, just sort of making sure that she's checked every area is done, and her robes are like billowing out behind her as she's speeding around, just doing all these final checks.
Yeah, and and everything's going exactly as you planned it. Like, you know what you're doing here. This is very much your job. You have a lot of information about not just the theatrical side of House Dionysia, which is a new endeavor. It's something that the house is trying to get into, and this is a big deal. But also still, making sure that you have your contacts to assist, Lady Kara, the Spy Master, and many other things. You kind of perform many different duties for the house, but this kind of step into the theatrical world is very important for you, because this could be, if this goes well, this could be a huge step up for you in your sort of influence in the house and in the greater Imperium as well. And tonight, the performance, The Death of Peace, is a telling of the Battle of Corin and the life of Norma Senva, the genius behind the fold space technology and the downfall of the thinking machines, the very thing from which the Empire was originally founded. And this is kind of a big epic. It's an opera. There is a live orchestra. They are down in the pit with all these bizarre-looking, kind of almost crystal clear instruments. Like, everything's like, nothing's like a real instrument. It's all like weird, like oblongs with like a single string, but it produces weird noises. And there are drums, but they don't look like drums.
Theremin.
Lots of theremins and things like that. All of the performers are in these avant-garde, like almost like their outfits are geometrical shapes to represent the AI, the thinking machines that were the enemy of the Battle of Corin. And everything is this really high sci-fi, like high elegant sci-fi kind of vibe, right? And you have a couple of people come up to you.
Wide appeal.
Yeah, well, to the elite of the Imperium, this is very like,
their oblong.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They love weird shapes. They love stark misery, and the Harkonnens especially. They're like, oh yeah, war opera. We love that.
Is it all black and white as well for the Harkonnens?
I think that there would be a huge amount of black and white. Yeah. Like the theatre itself, this great pyramid is made from black, like an obsidian metal, and it has these statues of like bald-headed, faceless figures holding the pyramid up, and you go up a set of stairs into the inside of the pyramid, which is the theatre. So you kind of imagine this kind of scene ahead of you. You have a few people come up to you and just be like, "Oh, Lady Jade, yes, we just need. We haven't seen the props for the second act. Have you seen?" And like you kind of
behind the curtain on the left.
Yes.
Just make sure and go there.
Yes,
I have laid it all out. It is on the sheet that I gave you.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's
Please
just
check your sheet. Everything else is in order.
Of course, my lady. We just wanted to make sure, and some things have been moved around, but it's fine. And they go about their business and kind of come back to it. And that's when you see Kyle, the swordmaster, who's kind of acting as the bodyguard for the house. Yourself as well. You guys are agents of the house. You are not just servants of the house. You are like the highest authority below the Duke himself, basically. Duke and Damian are the head of the house. You guys are like the upper echelons of your individual compartments, right? So Kyle's job is not just to look after Damian, but also yourself, Lady Cara, and Dr. Luca as well. You have a few minutes before you need to start taking your seats. Like, we're getting close to kind of, security curtain comes down, everybody's going to get in position. This is the last bit of frantic setup that you guys are doing. Is there anything either of you two are particularly interested in or want to do before you meet up with the others?
Lady Jade, I'm terribly sorry. I know this is like minutes away from everyone sitting down, but the entire main cast have been assassinated. No, I'm just kidding. House Harkonnen have everything under control, as do mine.
Yes, I know. I'm in control of it, so therefore it's as planned.
But can you imagine?
That would be quite something.
I guess we should probably take our seats.
Yes, probably. I think there was some issue with props, but it seems to have been sorted now.
Sure, whatever. We've all got our blades. House Harkonnen are looking pretty intimidating as usual. And see Lady Cara?
No, they should be arriving soon, though.
Okay,
I would imagine everything's on schedule. I haven't heard otherwise.
all right.
Yeah, and with that, you can sort of make up any last-minute things, and you make your way out to basically the front of the theatre. And as you do, we see this kind of oblong-shaped hovercraft arrive. There is a crowd that's gathered, a mixture of other nobles and members of the other great houses in the Landsraad. And House Dionysia is a minor house, but this event has kind of gathered a fair bit of attention, and Duke Isaac, the head of the house, has been hard at work to kind of make this happen. And so as Lady Cara and Luca and Damian and Zhang Wei step out, there are like flashes of like, photography drones and people who are sort of like asking questions, and everything's been practiced and performed. And Damien, to his credit, he brings out his walking cane and he makes his way and answers questions about the play, about the event. Is very gracious, like, I would like to thank House Harkonnen for their gracious hospitality and housing us here in Carthage whilst we put on the performance. It is wonderful to bring theatre and arts to a place of battle and of a starkness. I hope that we can bring some light and culture, and sort of, kind of goes about like doing the talking points, basically. As you make your way in, you see everyone sorts to part, and waiting at the front of the theatre, as Kyle and Jade, you guys arrive to meet up with everyone as well, you see a very prominent figure. Bald head, very pale skin, very obviously an envoy of House Harkonnen themselves, wearing a kind of black suit, but it has these long flowing sleeves, a long train that trails behind him, and on his flanks, left and right, are two. One appears to be a bodyguard, very muscular, blades at the sides. The other appears that she's maybe more of like a concubine or an assistant, very sleek, almost latex-like sort of dress that almost flows over her like ink. But all of them bald head, all of them pale skin. And Lady Cara, you would know that this individual is called Kane Harkonnen, and he is a minor member. He's like a minor family member, barely related to the Baron. Lady Cara, Lord Damian, welcome. It is such a pleasure to have you here in Carthage at our theatre. And he kind of, and you can see that he has this kind of device wrapped around his shoulder and belt, which almost has like a pipe attached to it. I hope that you have enjoyed the sights of our city thus far. Carthage has such wonderful pleasures to see. And he brings it up. This big smoke kind of pulls out of his mouth. Is everything ready for your performance for the theatre tonight?
Lord Kane, you do us a great honour by hosting us on the opening night of our little play. Your city has been most welcoming, and I'm sure I speak for the house when I say everything has been catered for. We thank you.
Oh, that is very kind of you to say. Duke Isaac and my relations have been in great discussion. People often think of Harkonnens as brutal and sadistic, which is true, but we also have a love of art and of culture. After all, is war not a catalyst for so many great stories? But yes, we are most pleased to have you here. Come, we have a box waiting for you and everything is prepared. And then I hope to accompany you to your residence to show you the Tower of Residence, and perhaps we can discuss more of our future collaborations together.
So gross.
Yeah, they're gross, by the way, the Harkonnens. This guy is creepy and gross. The concubine says nothing. She doesn't speak. The bodyguard just keeps this scowl and is probably, Kyle, sizing you up. Like, there's definitely this kind of like looking towards your blade, looking at you. He's very big, rippling strong with muscles of a similar kind of build, and he's definitely kind of sizing you up a little bit. As you
Kyle remains as calm and blasé about the whole thing.
Sure.
And yeah, very certain of himself.
Sure. You are escorted in with Kane Harkonnen, and you are led up to a kind of royal box, an imperial box rather, that looks out onto the stage, and you can hear the sort of orchestra tuning up as everybody's in that murmur of a theatre, that kind of hubbub as people begin to take their seats and everything else. And you have a few moments like to kind of like discuss. Damian will look to you, Jade. Oh, Lady Jade, wonderful to see you. Is everything ready backstage?
Oh, of course. Everything is ready. The performers are very excited. I hope you enjoy the show.
Well, I hope so as well. I've done a little reading on it. But yes, I think that, yeah, everything should go well. And you do an excellent job developing this part of the house. It's not one me or my father know much of my father know about, I'm afraid, but we're very glad to have your assistance.
Well, I can teach you all about it if you'd like.
Please, I would love to learn more as things go on. And he kind of like nods and smiles at you. And then he looks to you, Damian. And Kyle, you and Damian have had like a sort of slightly awkward relationship, because normally it would be your responsibility to train the House Heir in combat. But unfortunately, Damian's illness basically means he can't really fight on his own, and so you've always been a bit of a loss. Like a lot of the ways that you would have trained him and things like that in your duties, you've not been able to. So it's this kind of slightly alienated kind of like, he's like, oh, so Master Kyle, is everything all right? Security is in hand?
Yeah, all good. How's the weapon? And he points at the cane.
He kind of like taps
Training her.
Yes. Wouldn't do me much good, but
We should really put like a hidden like blade or something in the end of it. You never know.
yes, maybe that's something to talk about with Rodney when we get back.
I'm kidding. I got you. It's all right.
I don't really. He kind of like holds his chest and is very awkwardly like, "Oh yes, of course."
How's your dad?
The last I heard, him and Mother are fine. They're visiting the Imperial world, Kaitane, to make some business arrangements and things like that. But so the last message I had from them, everything was fine. Yes, all good, all good.
Enjoy the show.
Thank you. Yes, well, hopefully we all will. And he takes a seat. And you guys have a moment, like if there's anything you guys want to do or say to each other. The way that this, one of the big elements of this game is, like I said, espionage and intrigue. A lot of your skills, they might not be things that I prompt, right? This is very much a player agency-led game. Like, if you want to be like, for example, I want to send my security team to a part of the theater just to keep an eye on things, right? That's actually a kind of moveset in this game it basically involves moving your assets to a different part of the theater. And depending on where your assets are and what they're doing, they can provide you benefits or be used in different ways, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, if Kyle was like, you know what, I'm going to send all of my guards to go man the front entrance, right? And just watch the front entrance in case there's any trouble. That would be what we call moving an asset, and there's a whole process behind that. And then if anything does happen and you want to have those guards attack somebody who's trying to break into this theater, you can use that asset to make an attack and do things with it, right? The same goes for Intrigue and Espionage, because not all of you guys are going to be combat characters, right? If, for example, Lady Kara or even Jade was like, hey, can I get like a read on Kane Harkonnen? Like, what's his deal, right? You can do that. And I know some of you, I think Jade and Dr. Luca, you both have a talent, right? What is it?
I'm an empath, so I have a couple of things like passive scrutiny.
Passive scrutiny, that's the one I was going to remember, because I believe that one is when you enter a scene, you immediately get to ask me a free question about anything you like, and I provide you a truthful answer for it, right? Normally, the way that you do that is when you make a skill roll and you get momentum, you can spend momentum to ask for more information about things. But you two, whenever you enter a scene, and I'll tell you when it's a new scene, this now is like a scene as you guys take your seats with Kane Harkonnen there, his entourage with him. He's sat with you. You have each other amongst you as well. The theatre itself, all of these things, you can ask me. The two of you just get to ask me a free question about it right now. Or at any point. Like, it's generally at the start of the scene, but if you can't think of one right away, that's fine. We can always come back to you and I'll basically give you a free question. Is there anything you guys can think of that you're like, I want to know about this? And you don't have to if you can't think of anything.
I think I want to ask about Kane and just, is he relaxed in this environment or is he on edge?
Great question. Kane Harkonnen seems completely relaxed. He is he whispers something to his concubine, he laughs, some joke that he's probably told. He's like gladly smoking on this like strange device that he has. He probably has like a glass of some sort of black liquor in his hand, and he is just living the best life. He is totally relaxed right now. Yeah, and you don't get the impression that he is hiding any, like he's not sort of like preparing himself or anxious about anything at all. He seems completely relaxed.
Could I get a read on the I don't know if I'm allowed because I don't have any...
You can make a check to do it. They get one for free, basically. So
Yeah.
for you, this would be like an actual skill test, right?
Yeah.
And it's worth keeping in mind. So when we make skill checks, the only time I'm going to ask you for it is if it matters how well you do at a thing, if there's a chance of failure, or if there's a consequence for it. Because in this game, I can spend something called threat to add things like complications and make things harder. If you roll really badly, it can add complications and add like ongoing traits, and like you might offend Kane Harkonnen, and then I'll be like, hates Kara, that becomes like a trait that he gains, right? So you can absolutely do that. So this would probably be is this like, are you engaging him in conversation to kind of eke things out, or just studying his like body language?
So it's not Kane that I want to...
Oh, it's the concubine. Mm-hmm.
But I imagine it would be like while I'm talking to Kane and kind of playing host and that kind of thing, I'm sort of looking at her as well, because she hasn't said anything, which is probably normal for like
Yeah,
Harkonnen.
it's quite normal.
But I just want to, like, as a Bene Gesserit, just, see where she's at.
I think this is going to be more of an understand, because you're not directly communicating with her. So I'd say this is understand, and then you get to tell me what drive you want to use.
So I've got 8 for understand and drive.
So I've got some like really good reminders here. So duty is what is your responsibility. Faith is what your heart says. Justice is what is right. Power is what you want. And truth, what the facts are. So what is important to you in this moment? Is this is Kara approaching this and you want to know as much as you can about the situation because that's your whole thing, like uncovering truth?
Being in control and like knowing what is going on, and maybe if there's a strike happening, like...
Sure, yeah, so I think that truth could apply to that, but also if we wanted to, we could argue and say like, well, actually it's about power, right? Like you want leverage, you want to know what you might be able to hold over the Harkonnens, or you might say that this is duty because your responsibility is to protect the house, There's lots of ways that you can argue, and it's very much up to you to sort of like pick it, so... So,
I kind of want to argue... say truth. You will know me by my deeds, and I feel like my deeds are the control of House Dionysia, and like especially with Damian being there, like the kind of heir. I want to protect him. I want to. Well, I say protect. He might be a good asset, but So him being in close quarters with Kane and this concubine and these guards, I just want to know that he's safe and there's no like shenanigans.
And what was your statement again?
You will know me by my deeds.
Under truth. Yeah, I don't think that your drive is really in conflict here. Because I don't think it's in conflict. So yeah, you can roll this with truth. So understand and truth.
Understand is 8 and truth is 7. So that's
And then so
15.
15. So this is going to be an opposed test because if she is hiding something,
Yeah.
I'm going to roll it. She might not be, but I'm going to roll to see what her abilities are.
Okay.
And for that, I just need to bring up some stats because
Right,
there's a lot of stuff.
I don't want this very wide.
So this is going to be
2 1s. What? I rolled 2
Is
1s.
it 2 symbols?
Yeah.
2 symbols, yeah.
2 symbols. That's a 1.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
I don't even need to. I don't even need to
I
roll.
see
what the difference-
everything about her.
Unless
I am her.
I don't think I can physically roll high enough to. So basically, a 1 in this game is a critical success. It basically is a critical success. It always succeeds. It counts as 2 successes. So that's 4 successes that you just rolled.
Okay.
So unless I roll 2 1s as well,
Do it.
I didn't. So you get a read on it. So now keep in mind that the difficulty that I would have set for this would have been 1. So you got 4 successes, which means that you have 3 additional successes, right? You've got a choice of how you spend these. You can use one of those successes to ask me additional information. I'm gonna answer your base question. I'm gonna let you ask me one question and I'll answer it. But you can spend one of those successes to ask an additional question, or you can bank them and put them into the group's momentum pool, and then you can use that momentum. It does degrade slowly. Each new scene, you'll lose 1 out of the group pool, so you want to spend it when you earn it. Or you can increase the rate of successes. Normally, in this case, you're going to be asking me more information in that way. Do you want to so what's the question that you want to ask?
So, is the concubine hiding something?
Is the concubine hiding something? The answer to that question is yes. Now, I don't need to elaborate more than that.
Yeah.
But you can tell, you are Bene Gesserit, you have trained, you're a spy master. She keeps glancing at you, at Damian. There's definitely something she's hiding. There's like an involuntary glance. Like every time she's not directly being engaged, like there's this kind of subtle glance back. Do you have 3 successes?
So, do I have to bank all 3, or can I use one?
You
to
can
ask
spend.
more
Yeah, you can ask.
and then
Yeah,
bank
absolutely.
2?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I guess, is it too janky to ask what is she hiding?
Well, yeah, because you have no way of knowing that,
yeah.
right? But the other
I
thing.
guess I could rephrase it. Is she hostile towards Damian and myself?
No. You don't think it's hostility, but she's definitely hiding something. There's definitely body language that implies that she's nervous, that there's some element of deceit here, but you don't think it's hostility, like, hatred or anything like that. The other thing you can do is, because you've got 2 momentum, it currently banked, right? You could spend that momentum right now to do something, to basically take another action in this case, because this is a bit of an intrigue scene, right? What you could do with that is you could do what's called move an asset, right? So you're currently in this theater. Imagine you're in this theater and you're suspicious of this concubine. You're a spy master. You can be like, I'm just going to pop to the ladies' room, send a message. I need you to go and investigate this concubine. You can send one of your assets to go and try and dig up more information.
Yeah.
And that might take some time, but you could do that. And it will come down to how you want to do that as well. But it's up to you.
So I feel like there's 2 things I'd want to do. One is to, maybe contact Tiang Wei and ask her to dig up a file on the concubine. But I'd also want to try and communicate to Kyle, watch the concubine.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. So rather than moving your own asset, what you can do is basically pass your free thing to Kyle.
Yeah.
And you can basically let Kyle now have an immediate action and do something about it. Or if you just want to warn him, you can do that anyway. You don't need to like do a special thing to like be like, hey, watch that one. Like that's role playing. But if you wanted to be like, I want Kyle to immediately do something about it, you could pass that over and do that, right? It's very abstract, this game. You got to kind of like wrap your head around like things like assets, like, you know, these are very intangible or physical things that you can like improv with and do crazy stuff with, right?
So could I spend 1 point to throw to Kyle and 1 point on contacting?
It costs 2 points of momentum to like to basically move that asset.
I'm gonna throw it
stuff.
to Kyle just because I want to see, like, I want to.
Sure.
So
Sure.
yeah.
So you basically take a moment, like whilst everyone's kind of gets sat down. Imagine this is an ongoing scene, right? This isn't like one conversation. Like you've been talking with you've been talking with Kane Harkonnen. Like Jade is probably and Dr. Luca are talking with Damian about the play, kind of briefing him on what's going to happen, and sort of like talking about the history and the scholarshipness of it. And meanwhile, you find a moment and you take Kyle aside. What do you tell him?
The concubine is nervous. She keeps looking at myself and Lord Damian. Do something about it.
Very well, milady.
Wait. Hold on. Let me put some parameters into place before you go and chop her head off.
Just don't use the voice on me, because that hurts a lot.
Sweet Kyle, I would never do such a thing.
Okay. Okay, what do we do?
Be subtle. Investigate if she is a threat.
Subtlety's my middle name.
It's not. Your middle name is Paul. I want you to investigate it and be on alert. If Lord Damian is under threat, something needs to be done. But be subtle about it.
I will salute and go about that duty.
Okay. So is this like Carl's going to basically kind of almost be on alert? This
What
is
I'm going to do is bring my personal guard to basically be in the corners of this box.
Great. This is a perfect thing, right? Because that is an asset.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're moving that asset to where you are right now. Now, are you trying to do that subtly or boldly? Because when you do this, when you make a move with an asset, and this could be a knife, this can be a squad of soldiers, this could be a piece of blackmail, you always make the choice of when you go to move it or use it in some way, you choose whether you do it subtly or boldly. If you do it subtly and you succeed, nobody's aware that you've done it, and you get to keep acting. If you do it, but if you fail moving something subtly, I will basically have them respond and they take an immediate action. Like they might grow suspicious, they might ask you what you're doing, or if this was a fight, they might attack you or something like that. If you do something boldly, and you succeed, you basically force their hand. You would basically, in this instance, you could either subtly have your guards take up position and keep an eye out, and the Harkonnens wouldn't be none the wiser, or you could very overtly bring your soldiers in and basically tell the Harkonnens, if you make a move, we're going to fuck you up. And what that will do is that forces them to move one of their assets. It might mean that Kane sends the concubine away. Like that would I'll tell you now, that's probably what he's going to do. He'll be like, oh, you leave, like, or bodyguard, go and do something else, right? You know, he's probably going to move one of his assets. If you fail moving something boldly, again, I get to immediately act, and obviously now I know what you're trying to do. So it kind of comes down to that kind of element to it. So what does Kyle do here?
Lady Cara asked me to be subtle.
Okay.
Kyle
It's going to do the opposite.
He's got a bravado about him,
Just
right?
don't chop her head off.
So it's not so much about the concubine, it was the fact that Carl was rubbed the wrong way by that bodyguard, just looking him up and down, kind of glancing and doing a bravado macho.
Sure.
Yeah, so what he's going to do is to Lady Cara, he's like whispering to the personal guard to stand in the corner, and then Kyle is going to stand directly in eyesight of the bodyguard and like fold his arms.
Okay, so draw the attention onto you.
Yeah.
So that your guys can move in.
I'm the main bodyguard, and
Okay.
all my men are with me.
Sure. All right, so this is going to be a skill test. And I think that this sounds like actually battle, physical conflict or strategy. This is battle, right? You are using your physical presence to establish this.
That's an 8.
Okay,
That's
and then
high.
what drive do you think this falls under?
Power.
Power. Great. Yeah.
That's an 8. Yeah. 60.
Hold my
And you'll
power
find
stance.
this is going to be a case of you guys will generally fish for the best option that you can. That's intended in the system. I might, however, occasionally be like, no, I think that this actually is going to apply, or like maybe this, or the difficulty can go up and stuff like that.
This feels like a Kyle power play.
This is difficulty 2. So you've got 2d20s right now.
Yeah.
You've been past this immediate action. You've got, 16. You've got 2d20. You need to get 2 under 16s. Now remember, if somebody assists you, you can add extra dice to it, or they roll a dice and add it to it. But also, if you had momentum, you could spend it to increase the number of rolls.
Got 1 momentum, right? Or
No, it's
Spend all
spend
thrown to you.
both of them.
I'm just gonna straight roll.
But you do have the security asset, which I'd say would make this easier, so I'm going to lower the difficulty by 1. So it's 1 difficulty. So you just need under 16 on 1 dice.
I got 12 on one of them.
Great. Just
16
And a
on the
16
other.
on the other, but
So that would both be successes,
okay, great.
right? So you can bank that point of momentum now,
banking it.
or you could choose to basically have a bigger impact. Like you can basically
I'm not
have a
gonna
greater level
overstate
success. Okay,
beyond what Lady Cara.
okay. Has said.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to bank momentum when you can, like, because it's very powerful. So you guys have got 1 momentum in the group pool, and exactly that scene happens, right? Kyle moves up, folds his arms, big display of aggression and power, like, nope, this is my house, we're in command here. If you try anything, there's going to be trouble. And you see the guards very subtly just position themselves, not aggressively. They're like outside the door, maybe one of them's inside, very neatly positioned, maybe even comes up and is like, Lady Cara, could I get you a drink? And like makes it very obvious that they are now present.
Yeah.
Right? And immediately Kane looks around, he looks to his bodyguard, he sees you kind of sizing up and things like that, and he'll say,
We don't want a pissing contest here, do we? Jihan, you can leave.
and his bodyguard, he's like, go on, go check out the back. And he's like, he sends his bodyguard away. Keeps the concubine with him, but he sends the bodyguard away. And that's going to be him. You forced him by bold, like, sort of doing this, like, to move his men, basically. Yeah, so he sends them away. The play starts up. The theatre performance begins. And it is a very bizarre, it's like a super sci-fi opera, very Fifth Element. The music is, it's like, ha ha! It's very much like that.
It's the soundtrack.
It's the soundtrack to Dune. There's probably some elements of like speech, like Harkonnen speech and stuff in there. And it basically tells this like battle story, but we kind of skip through time here, like a little bit, right? And we're going to end that scene, that kind of like little bit of like drama and diplomacy and stuff. Your momentum, you would lose 1 momentum, unfortunately. So your momentum, you got, see, this is the way it plays through. But the kind of play goes on, and it's a long, this is like a sort of 3-hour opera, right? And things like that. You get through to an interval, and then you return to your seats. The bodyguard's still missing. Kane is there, commenting on how great the performance is and like making it clear. And Damian's trying to be the diplomatic heir, and like even though he's much younger than this other guy, like he's really trying to like represent the house. And that is when Zhang Wei will basically pop up into the box and look towards you, Lady Cara, and you, Lady Jade. And we'll just say, may I please beg my lady's presence for just a brief moment? Like whispering, like as the performance is going on. And Kane's like, oh, go on, get out. I want to enjoy what's happening. And he's like, go on, bugger off. Like, kind of like, yes, go on, go deal with your business. Like, you shouldn't be speaking during the play kind of thing. But you can, both of you, and especially because I know you're a bit of an empath as well, and you being Bene Gesserit, Lady Cara and Lady Jade, you can immediately tell something's wrong. Zhang Wei is like, I need to speak with you both now. You kind of step outside the box, like move down the corridor, and she is pale, like, and trembling, like her hands are trembling, and she's just like, my ladies, we've just had word. Some of our network in the Imperial Palace. House Eris has declared Canley against us. It has been recognized by the Emperor. We've been blindsided. We thought that they were diminished. We thought that they weren't present anymore. For your sake, for those of you who don't know, for the audience's sake, Canley is a ritualistic declaration of a war of assassins. Outright warfare between the houses, whether minor or major, is outright banned. Right? They don't want the houses going to war with each other in open conflict. That would be very bad for the Emperor and for the Landsgrad. So Canley is a way of basically the Emperor saying, you don't like this house, you have a grievance against them, a legitimate grievance. You may conduct business, but it's assassination only. This is like subtle warfare, right? Basically, this has said, you and this house Eris are at war, and that's okay. And that's basically been approved in a sense. The Emperor doesn't care which side wins. He's just like, I recognize it. Now, it does mean Canley does mean that there are restrictions on what can and can't be done. They can't like blow up your home planet. They can't go and like blow up, your head base of operations. But they can jab a knife in your back. They can poison you in your sleep. They can do these kind of subtle assassination things. Honorable, sort of. But it's like this kind of very ritual, like codified war of assassins. And Zhang Wei is basically like trembling, like, we've just heard, we've lost communication, like a lot of our network have just gone silent. I'm very worried. And sort of like mentions this to you.
Is there word of the Duke? He was on the Imperial homeworld.
Nothing. We've heard nothing. I got a brief transmission about House Eris declaring Canley. The Emperor had ratified it, and then it went silent. At this point, as you two are out in the corridor, Dr. Luca and Kyle, you are currently in the box with Damian and Kane Harkonnen and the concubine. Can you both please make...
I think I know why the concubine is nervous.
Maybe. This would be, I would say, kind of like preparing for like an awareness.
Discipline?
I'd let you argue. If you want to do discipline, like this is your readiness.
My lowest.
Oh, well, okay.
I don't argue.
Okay. I would say this is going to be understand.
Okay.
Equally low.
This is to see if you basically, because you don't know this conversation's happening elsewhere, but maybe you'll like pick up on something that's happening. So understand, and then you guys get to pick the drive for this.
Probably duty.
Yeah.
My responsibility to make sure that things are fine,
Yeah.
but aren't right now.
Yeah, same. Especially after you've been told.
All right. So what do you get? So what's your understand plus duty?
That would be a 5 plus 4, so 9, and I got 1 9, so 1 success.
I rolled above mine on both
You're
dice.
rolling
I'm rolling
better
really
than
well
you've
with
ever
these
rolled.
dice.
Why does this happen every time we
she
do
rolled a
this?
net
Now,
20.
one thing, just don't move your dice. I'm going to say that this is actually a pretty precarious situation. Did any of you roll a 17 to a 20?
Yeah, both times.
Both times?
Yeah.
And you as well, once as well? Because there is a thing, like a kind of like, if you roll a 1, it's a critical success. In this, you have something called a complication.
2 complications.
What is happening with your
I
dice?
don't know. I got that 20 and an 18.
She's literally
never happened.
Next
Never
time we do
better.
Althea, we're going to tell you that it's a new system.
New system.
You have to roll
You have to roll
under.
low.
That was possible.
If the dice don't know, they're all right.
Yeah. They roll really low.
All right. And because this is like, things are really going to kick off now. So this game has a thing called threat. I'm going to get 4 points of threat to start with because there's 4 of you. And that's like kind of like you have momentum, I have threat. And I get to spend it to do stuff.
If I come back into that box and Damien is dead, there's going to be words.
I
So-
didn't think.
Here's how this goes down, right? Neither of you see this coming.
Doctor's just like, what?
Neither of you see this coming. Complication. I'm trying to think of what this could be. I think that like you are just
Joined in the
you're distracted.
He's sitting, la 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 la.
You are. There's thoughts going on in your mind, Dr. Luca. You are completely engrossed. Maybe you're engrossed in the play itself, right? And your sight with your glasses, like it's very dark. Like apart from on the stage, I'm going to basically give you the complication of distracted, which is going to make your tasks harder, right? And then I think for Luca in this
1 success.
sorry, for Kyle, you got one success and 1 complication. Okay, it's not enough, unfortunately, to beat the difficulty on this.
I'm yawning because of the opera.
Maybe that's it. You're feeling a bit sleepy, but I think for you the complication is going to be that this attack is coming from a place of darkness, and so any kind of retroactive behavior is going to be quite tricky.
Attack. He said the word attack.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I specifically did, and I'm now going to take the initiative because you both failed.
You failed.
Both
First day
failed.
out. He's dead.
I I leave for 1 minute.
So I'm going to use this particular figure's. They have a talent called Master at Arms, which means I can spend a point of my threat to basically give them like an extra boost to this. And then so that's that. You guys are distracted, but Damian does wear his personal shield at all times. Like he's a noble of the house.
God.
He wouldn't go anywhere without it.
Good lad.
Makes it
Blade with his
difficult,
cane.
but yeah, he does make a thing.
The slow blade.
Slow blade. So this is going to be. Oh, I've got my focus in this as well.
Oh no! I swear to God.
So this is. I need to roll a 14 or under, and if I get under a 7, that triggers my focus. Oh.
oh
Oh.
no!
I rolled a 5 and a 3. That is 2 criticals because of my focus. That's 4 successes.
My God.
4 successes. The difficulty here would have
Maybe
been
it's dead.
2, 3 because of his shield, so 1 success does go through. So this is what happens, right? You two are so distracted. You see it at the last minute, but not too late, unfortunately, as something up in the lighting rig above the stage. You just barely see it, Carl, but it's too late. You see a flash of silver, and then suddenly there's a flickering around Damian as a dart is slowly making its way towards his throat, and he's totally panicked. He's just, and you see Kane Harkonnen is like, and like dives to the side, like almost like, takes cover himself. He just is like, what is happening? As nobody else in this place even knows that this is going on. This is like silent, like, as it goes through.
They declare it and then boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because Damian is going to be a major NPC, I'm going to use his once per game resist defeat. So that he, but what I'm going to say is that this thing is going through the shield, but it's not reached him yet. I'm going to give you guys a chance to act, and in fact, I think that
So we don't
Jade and
derail.
Kara, you hear the, and then you hear the noise coming, and you know it's Damian. You can both tell that it's Damian's voice. What do you guys do?
Carl's jumping for the dart.
So you're just going to try and yank the dart
Literally
away.
grab it and
Yeah.
crush it.
Yeah, so I think that make a move, and this sounds like power, because this is like you're just doing, jumping straight into it, right? What's your power statement? Do you have one?
I have one. What must be done must be done.
Must be, yeah, I think that applies into this. So
Throw myself at it.
yeah, so don't forget you can spend your point of determination to either re-roll the test or to give you an automatic critical.
All right, we'll see what my dice is like.
Okay.
4 and a 16, and I needed 13.
So there's 1 success.
14, 1 success. I'm gonna use momentum to re-roll this one.
So it would be your determination.
My
You can re-roll
determination,
it.
sorry.
But also, just before you do, because before you would have rolled, I was going to say, you guys also have the opportunity, you can assist. I'd say in this case, Luca, you could assist in this. You would be basically making the same roll, so it'd be move, plus, for you, it could either be duty or power, because you can change the drive, but it would be the same skill. So
Yeah, I'll do move and duty.
move and duty. So you only roll 1d20 because you're assisting Kyle in this, right? And you're trying to, if you get a success, it adds to Kyle's successes.
13. 13 on the dot.
13 on the dot is equal or lower, right?
Yep.
So that is going to give you 2 successes right now. I'm going to tell you that that's enough. You don't need to spend your determination. You needed 2 successes to do this. No momentum, but like the two of you basically launch forward. Probably Luca, you grab Damian and pull him away at the same time as Kyle grabs the dart and like you manage to get hold of it just as it's about to pierce the shield. That slow driving through and then you smash it to the ground and immediately you can smell poison dart. And something in the rafters, there's a shadow of something.
A person's in the rafters going, "We declare kindly."
And I will say now, like, if you kind of come out and hear about this happening, for Jade and Kara, they coordinated. Like, there is no way that this is some coincidence. Like, they were basically waiting for some sort of go signal for this to happen. All right, so you guys succeeded on this. So what that means is, because we're in what we call a skirmish, right? And the way initiative works in this, I think this is really cool, is you've got a choice now, Kyle, because you're the one that made the roll. You can either spend momentum to keep initiative, and I know you don't have any momentum, but you can give me threat instead to keep the initiative, and you basically choose who goes next. Or you can throw it to me, and I get to take my turn. basically, because you succeeded. If you failed, I always go next. If you fail.
I think I might give you a threat.
So you want to give me 2
So that
threat?
I can pick the initiative.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty. So I go up to 5
So
threat.
I'm done, right?
But you throw it to somebody else. So like this is like representing that like you've dived in, you've smashed the dart,
And you
which is like
got-
thrown off
or
the
you just
assassin.
assisted?
Just assisted. Yeah, just assisted. So can definitely help you out on this.
Yeah, I throw it to you as you're the only other one in this box right now.
Yeah.
All right. So Luca, what do you do? So right now, Damian is still like you've pulled him down.
Yeah.
Like you've got this little box that you're currently in, but that's it. Like you've seen some sort of shadow move. What do you want to do?
I say we need to leave now, and I'll grab Damian and I'll start walking towards the door.
So just basically getting the hell out
Yeah,
of here.
we're like we need to go.
Yeah,
now.
sure. So this is like we did with the soldiers when Carl moved the asset. You're basically the asset in this case. You and Damien are the asset, so you're going to move. So are you trying to get there subtly, like, you know, keeping in cover, or are you just going to bomb run it and go boldly?
I'll do it undercover. I'll
Try and do it subtly?
try and do it subtly.
Yeah, great. So this is going to be another move, and yeah, it sounds like duty again for you. Like, yeah.
Duty.
Oh my God, Rhiannon!
Another 20 and a 5. And I need
That's a crit
I need
fail.
13.
I mean, it's a complication. There's no crit fails.
all right.
It's so you got one success. You got one success.
Success.
So what I'm going to do is this is going to be a contested roll against the assassin to basically see if they can get another shot off. Basically.
Oh, Jesus.
But I'm determining the difficulty here, so it's kind of like if you're able to do it. Okay. Luckily, I rolled badly on 1. You do just barely succeed. But
okay.
the complication is as you are moving, you kind of basically keep Damien's head down. You move, from the box out into the alleyway, but it's one of those theaters where where you go from the box to the exit is open to the rest of the theater, and you're trying to keep his head down. But because you generated a complication, moving this quickly, Damien's and he has to stop. He's like, "Doctor, I can't," and he's gasping for air.
Can I stop to check his vitals?
Yeah, you kind of stop for a moment because you did succeed the thing, so you do kind of keep the momentum going. And yeah, he's just basically he's not cut out for moving this quickly.
No.
He can't. He's too ill. So he kind of has to take a minute, and you have to stop, and you're basically couched now in this new zone, right? If we have the box as one zone, you're now in sort of the corridor leading to the exit, and you're pinned down there with Damian sort of in cover, so you can have the cover asset temporarily, so it makes it harder for me to attack you because you're hiding. But yeah, Damien's just his health is too bad. He can't move right now. You're you either somebody needs to take care of the assassin or needs to come and help you get him out of here. But for now, you're just checking his vitals, reassuring him that he's okay and stuff like that. And he's just
I'm sorry,
he's
my lord.
clutching his chest. He's
Okay,
no, I'm sorry. I wish I was better.
No, don't blame yourself. We will get you out of here as quickly as possible.
And he's just breathing. Because you succeeded, you get to, because you did this subtly, it doesn't cost you anything to keep the initiative. So you can now throw it to either Jade or Kara for free. You don't need to spend anything.
I'll throw it to Lady Kara. See if she's seen anything.
Sure.
I'm just in the corridor being
Yeah, so you do see this happen. You've seen Damien, you've heard the dart, you know everything that's going on at this point.
So I have a talent called Subtle Step, but I don't know if it's kind of good for this. So you're well versed in the methods of avoiding notice and reveal little that you do not intend to. It's not so much the second bit. The first bit, I want to try and get to them without attracting the assassin, the assassin seeing me approaching them, I guess.
You want to get to Luca and Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to get to the assassin. You want to get to these guys.
Actually, that's a good point, yeah.
That's what I just want to clarify, because obviously that's
Yeah.
two different directions.
Would I have seen, where...
You know, absolutely. And, Kyle can be rafters. You can literally be they're up there, I saw them. And he's, recovering, getting ready to move himself. Do you know what I mean?
I think in that case, yeah, I would go for the assassin.
Sure.
So,
And you can still try and do this subtly. You're a Bene Gesserit, right? You could
Yeah.
literally jump from the box up into the lighting rig, kind of parkour your way up into it and make a run for it, right? You guys are all pretty trained at doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, to help that, I've got Subtle Step and Prana Bindu Conditioning, which is a Bene Gesserit talent, which means I have absolute control over my body.
I think that's things like
That's a bit more
breathing and heart rate and stuff like that.
Changing the sex of my baby if I was ever pregnant.
There you go.
That's a cool thing.
That's a cool thing.
Boy, girl.
What does subtle set say that? Does it say anything specific? Like you gain like an extra?
When you attempt a move test to sneak or otherwise pass through unseen through an area, or when you attempt to move an asset subtly during conflict, the first extra d20 you purchase for the test is free.
So you get to add an extra d20 for free, no momentum. I would say that that's going to count in this. Like basically, you're going to try and stealthily parkour your way up to chase this assassin down.
I also have as a focus danger sense and stealth. Like I have both of those.
So what that means is if you roll under your under move the skill.
Yeah.
So what's your move rating?
So my move rating is 5, and the skill I've got for that is stealth.
Right. So if you roll under a 5, it counts as a critical, not just a 1. Okay. So if you roll under a 5, it counts as 2 successes for that. That's what the focus means. I'm going to determine the difficulty to see if this guy can spot you. This is going to be an understand versus, I think, power, I think, for this guy.
So I've got move is 5, and then I guess drive, like, justice, what we will do will return to us.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like...
I'm going to find this assassin, I'm going to punch their face in.
Yeah, sounds good.
It is unfortunately a 6, so it's not my highest, but 6 and 5 is 11.
So you get 3 d20s. I will tell you... I was going to tell you, I rolled to determine the difficulty on this, and it's going to be... so it's going to be 1 success for them, so it's only difficulty 1.
I rolled a 2, a 13, and a 20.
So 1 success.
Well, 2 successes because it's under a 5. So that counts as a critical because it's one of your focuses.
It's one of my focuses, yeah.
So you get 2 successes.
2 successes, 1 critical fail.
So 1 complication, right. I'll come into that in a minute. So because you've got 2 successes, your need to be at 1. You've got a point left.
Oh, okay.
So with that, momentum uses, I would say so you could either ask me a question about the current situation, or you can bank it as momentum. Is the ways that you can use that right now.
I'm gonna bank it as momentum.
Bank it as momentum. All right, there's 1 momentum in the bank for you guys. The complication is you subtly kind of like using the curtain alongside the royal box, you swing up, you clamber up your way, swing up onto the gangway and begin to kind of crouch and make your way. And you can see this assassin is like peering, maybe is repositioning themselves, ready to maybe try and like maneuver, to maybe try and attack in a different way. I'd say maybe it looks like they're moving to the other end of the gantry, like they're going to try and come down and then move around. As you are moving, unfortunately, the weight of both of you being up here causes it to and one of the lights kind of, and everybody in the theatre now is like, what's going on? And they're now sort of aware that something's kind of happening, not quite sure. The performers are like, and then they try and carry on going, but now there's this, potential that they know that something's going wrong, right?
Shit.
But you did succeed. You were moving subtly, so you can, if you want to, pass this. The assassin does not know that you're like chasing after them right at this point. Yeah. So you can pass it over to Jade if you like.
I'll pass to Jade, yeah.
Sure.
Just having a look at some stuff.
Yeah, so, take your time because it is a new system and there's a lot of other stuff that's going on.
I have in my battle.
Yes.
Evasive actions.
Yes. So that'd be like if you were trying to dodge or away from harm, like if somebody was trying to attack you, like it'd make you easier, like harder for them to hit you and stuff.
I want to try and, can I try and use that to take over helping to escort Damian to a safe place away from, is there any way that the like evasive actions and maybe my knowledge of the theatre, I can find some kind of a passage that takes him out of the main theatre?
I would say you absolutely can try that. It would probably not come under evasive. So it depends, right? I'm gonna give you 2 options. If you want to try and use your knowledge of the theatre to find like, a side extra, a way to duck out, that would probably be understand. If you want to try and use like, you're gonna kind of move up with the doctor and say like, right, 2 of you move with me, move when I tell you, and you're gonna basically like time it, like you're gonna be like 1, 2, 3, duck now. Like you're kind of almost like using like your training of like dancing and evasive maneuvers to help them avoid being struck. That would be using move.
Okay. I'm better at understanding.
Then
so
do
what
that.
I might do is try and find a way that we can get out of Dodge.
Yeah. Focuses are good because they give you that success, but you don't need to use them, right? They're good for like in a certain situation. But yeah, this would be understand, and then whatever drive you think is kind of fits in with this. Like, you know, is this something that you believe is the right thing to do? Do you feel that this is your responsibility? Like, how much do you care about this kid? Like, you don't have necessarily a personal connection to Damian. You know, you're very different to like the doctor, who is like, it is your job to protect this young man and to look after his health.
It's more, it's what is right. Justice is pretty high for me.
You could do that would, I think that, you know, if you feel that this is the right thing to do,
justice,
protect this young man.
Right. So I'd have a 15.
15. Alrighty. So 2d20s and trying to get under 15s.
They're both under 15, a 12 and a 14.
Alrighty. I will determine. I should do the difficulty first, but I'll just do it now because we're still figuring things out. That is going to be no focuses, but it is going to be 2 successes for me. So the difficulty was 2. So you do succeed, but no momentum, basically. So yeah, you basically pull Damian and Dr. Luca. You kind of have to go slow because of Damian's thing, but you move into another zone basically in the skirmish. So imagine that we've kind of got the box, we now have the corridor as a zone, we have the rafters as a zone, and now you've basically, from that corridor, we're going to have an access, like a kind of stage access corridor. Secret tunnel.
Through the theatre.
And you move into that zone. So you're completely locked away. The assassin cannot shoot at you at this point. Hopefully there's not any more assassins.
Oh, yay!
We'll see.
Person selling popcorn, assassin.
Boom.
So I'm actually going to put that down at 2.
Tiny ice cream selling, assassin.
It's all poison.
Yeah.
Great.
Person singing on stage, assassin.
At this point, you don't have anyone to kind of throw the initiative to. So the assassin basically goes. And what the assassin... Yeah, I know. The assassin is going to try to, basically move themselves out into the rest of the theatre and get away from the rafters and get away from Kara, basically, is what they're going to try and do. So I need you to do Kara, because you need to set the difficulty for me.
Yeah, because they don't know I'm here, right?
No, but they don't know that. So you're going to get, I would say, because they're unaware of you, I will give you a bonus to this. I'll let you roll an extra d20. Okay. But this is going to be, I think, this is against your understand... and I'd say truth, I think, because this is like they're trying to avoid your notice. But you could maybe argue duty as well.
No, I'm going to go for truth because that's a 7.
Sure.
So 8 and a 7.
Okay, great. So 15.
15.
And I get 3?
Yeah, I'd say, because they don't know that you're here. I'd say that's going to be your, like, the trait that you gained.
20 and 19.
And a 13.
Only 1 success. All right, so I've got to beat 1 success, and there is some complications as well. But I've got to beat 1 success. Now, I do have a focus in stealth.
Did you just roll another nat 20?
I rolled 2!
Luckily, it wasn't for a thing.
These dice are cooked!
These dice are cooked.
We put them in the microwave.
Oh. She's never rolled this well in her
Roll
life.
them again. Roll them again. Tell me. I'm sorry.
You need to use these Dune dice for our regular game.
Yeah.
Please do.
They're quite Ophelia covered, actually.
So, no, it's fine. Kara,
Ridiculous.
as you see the assassin, they basically like leap across the gangways, and you're following them. Imagine that we're kind of going across that rigging above a stage theatre. You know, there are props ready to be lowered down and all this kind of stuff. The weight of the two of you is too much. And as they leap and you move on to the next piece, something cracks, and because it had already been damaged, you have to hold on for dear life as the whole thing swings.
Oh my God.
And you are like clutching to it. You don't fall,
Okay.
but I rolled 3 successes.
Oh!
This assassin escapes. You lose them. They are gone. Right?
Okay.
At this point, right now, there's no danger. The assassin's sort of escaped, but so has Damian, right? What do you guys do? Like, are you gonna like continue? Yeah, like we can say, yeah, absolutely. We don't even need to make a check for that. Like you clamber your way up, you kind of pull yourself back up into like, you know, the area where there's stairs leading down for like the technicians and things like that. But you have lost track of, like, you don't know where they are. They've gone.
I think Kyle would send his personal guard to assist with Lady Kara. with
Luca,
Dr. Luca,
Dr. Luca.
and Lady
Jade.
Jade.
It's all right. There's a lot of names.
Basically to assist them
Sure,
and
okay.
ensure that he gets escort to the transport
Okay.
and out, while Kyle is going to try and track down where the assassin escaped.
Okay. All right. So you're doing that. What is Kara doing? I'll go round and then I'll kind of narrate what happens.
I think I'm going to go back to my only lead, which is to question the concubine. Like, something was off about that concubine.
Okay,
I
sure.
want to know what.
Sure. All right. I'll come back to you in a minute. So Luca and Jay, you guys are basically almost like you have to keep moving because you're in this access corridor. You probably want to get out, right? Like, unless there's anything else you can think of that you want to do, or any actions that I can't think of.
Try
Sure.
and because I have constantly watching, which is basically like I'm really like to the point
Paranoid.
of almost paranoid, looking for danger.
Yeah.
So can I do that?
Yeah, I think it's a bit later on. I think
Where are you? Where are you?
And I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that.
Unfortunately, this is one where I don't know all of the talents off by heart, so I can't tell
Talents start on 127.
Thank you.
I wrote it down.
you. Constantly watching.
So whenever I attempt a skill test to detect danger or hidden enemies, I reduce the difficulty by 2
To a minimum of
to
zero.
a minimum of 0.
In addition, once per scene, when an enemy chooses to keep the initiative, you can choose to increase the cost by 2. It's very cool.
So I want to try and
Yeah.
detect
All right.
danger.
We'll do that in a minute, because I'm going to kind of cycle through everybody in a second. Luca, was there anything you wanted to do?
I have a Cybus hood. Could I give that to Damian to try and disguise his identity?
What does that do?
It's like a
Assets are quite
194.
194
There you go.
assets.
Kim's on it. Got it fucking
I wrote it all
bookmarked.
down on my thing.
Yeah, it's great. Keep that page for kids.
And then
probably
alphabetically.
espionage.
So.
I'm assuming it does something like it kind of hides your
It
identity.
disguises, yes, I could
Yeah, okay.
disguise.
Oh, okay.
I think between the two of you, Jade and Luca, with the Cypher hood on for Damian, and with your sort of always watching and keeping an eye out, there's not really any big risk of you guys being discovered or Damian being in any more danger here, right?
Okay.
Like,
Says Cybus Hood enables its user to easily escape notice and blend into crowds.
Yeah,
Disguise infiltration.
right, so right now there's not a huge crowd, but when the theatre goes to leave, there's going to definitely be a big crowd, for that. You guys can totally make your way down, and you have the security team that Carl's sent after you as well. You can make your way down to the transport, and you do have here in the city, you've been gifted like a tower residence that you're staying in, and that will be like a kind of fortified building under your control, right? That's under House Dionysia control. It won't be like an environment, like a public environment like the theatre. It's probably the safest place that you could take Damian, right? And I think between the two of you, I'm not even going to ask you guys to. I mean, you can make checks, I guess, because you might be able to generate momentum. So we'll do that first. So this would be for you doing your test. This would be understand and then a drive to kind of keep watch.
Would it be justice again, maybe?
Yeah, doing what's right. Yeah.
Like, so 15?
Yep, 15. The difficulty will be 0. Because actually, no, technically it's based on the assassin's awareness and stuff. That is going to be... Okay, well, it would be difficulty 2, but you reduce it by 2,
reduce
right?
it by 2 to
so,
0.
Yeah, so, and then how
I
many
got 2
successes?
successes.
So you
that's
have 2
momentum.
points. Yep, you can bank that as momentum.
Bank.
All right, so 2 points of momentum and a success, right? So you are constantly keeping an eye out for danger. You probably do see... You're not sure if it was an assassin or not, but like you see some suspicious looking stagehands and you pivot Damian and immediately go down another way. And you guys are kind of like taking these kind of quite paranoid actions, but very clearly what you're doing, right?
That's what I'm good at. Paranoia.
And then Luca, like when you use an asset, it does the thing that it's doing. So like you just disguise his appearance, but obviously the asset alone, like there is some sort of like use of it and things like that as well. So for this, I think because it hides what he looks like, but obviously his behaviors and things like that are still going to be kind of semi-obvious. So
Could we do like an old man disguise? So it's kind of like he's like an
With a
elderly,
cane.
man with
Sure.
a cane kind of thing. I don't know.
Sure. Just give me make it a communicate check, but
Okay.
you can do duty maybe, because again you're trying to protect
Okay.
Damian. Because this is like you trying to like almost sell the lie, right? Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, come along this way, sir, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Oh man.
7 and a 13. Success.
Are they both successes?
Yep.
Great, that's good news.
Chin in it.
That is going to be. So you got 2 successes there,
Yeah.
didn't you? That is going to be 2 successes for me. So no momentum, but you do succeed.
Cool.
So I got 2. I made the difficulty 2 on that for the awareness. So yeah, like between the 2 of you guys, Damian is fairly safe, right, at this point. For Kara and Kyle.
Hello.
Kyle, you run around this place. You find no sign of this assassin. They have slipped in. They've seemingly vanished. Like you spend however long you feel would be appropriate. But being on your own, you find that like the house, that Harkonnen guards, this isn't a deal to them. Like this isn't an attack on the theater itself or the people within it. This is your problem. So you don't get any assistance from them. But yeah, you spend some time and they have just gone. They've just vanished.
Okay.
And you begin getting like communications from like your team, like, so we've got Damian, we've got Dr. Luca, we've got Lady Jade, we're ready at the shuttle to head back as soon as like we can. Like, we need to get back to the tower.
Yeah. Don't leave without me.
Okay, we'll wait for you, sir. And like they're waiting and like the kind of not like parking lot, but like a kind of station where the transports are. So you can start making your way back down there. Kara, you find that Kane Harkonnen and the concubine and his bodyguard, like he is like,
What the hell was that? Was that an assassin after your boy?
Exactly so.
What on earth is this about?
Apparently, we got word that the House Ares has declared Canley against Eris.
I say your house name wrong, you say it's fine.
Fine. That's why they're committing Canley against
Yeah.
us. They have declared Canley against us.
Oh, a dangerous thing. Oh, well, I suppose staying here and finishing the performance is a bit out of the question. What do you wish to do?
I wish to speak to your concubine.
Just gestures.
Go ahead, if you think that she has something to hide.
My lady.
And you can see like terror just like drains in this woman's face. Just
What is your name?
she like looks and shakes her head, and you see that there is a faint smirk on Kane's face.
You have altered her?
Open your mouth, dear.
She opens her mouth, she has no tongue.
That's a problem.
But if you think that I can ensure that we have someone interrogate her, if you think that she's holding some information against you, or would you like to take her back to your tower for further interrogations? She can ride.
With your permission, Lord.
Yes, of course. My plan was to come back and speak with Lord Damian anyway. We can't have his life in danger whilst he is a guest of House Harkonnen.
I'm so glad you agree.
Yes, of course.
And he kind of like looks at the concubine and is like, come along. And you can see that she just wilts, like just is like, oh, I'm in trouble kind of thing. The bodyguard completely silent and just packs up and jumps in with you guys. To kind of speed things along, we're going to end that scene, and we see the next scene is as you guys all gather in the shuttle, you make your way back to a tower of residence, like a kind of big, tall, black obsidian tower. And you are staying there. It's a place that's been gifted to you for whilst you're staying here, whilst you're sort of on diplomatic business. There's about 5 floors in a basement. You have like apartments, you have like kitchen, lounge, security office, all of that, everything that you could imagine that you might need while you were here. And you return, and it's getting quite late. You have guards and things like that all placed outside. This has got like active defensive systems, like turrets and things like that. It has like shielding that can be activated. This is a fairly secure building. But yeah, there is probably no other attacks on your way back. But Kara, you know that assassin got away. And there's very likely that they're to strike
I'm
again.
very displeased about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perturbed.
But that is, as you guys arrive and you begin sort of, you arrive, you get everything settled. There are a few more other people here. There are some other members of House Dionysia. There is also your pilot, who is a representative of the Spacing Guild, who is here. She's basically here to like shuttle you to and from, the ship that takes you back to your world and things like that. We'll get into who they are in a bit. But because I love to end things on a cliffhanger, none of you see this. We almost cut away. And we see that as you guys make your way back into the tower, Damian very ill. Dr. Luca takes him up to bed. You know, he needs to rest. Like he's not very well. You can see that Kyle and the security team meet with the War Master, Rhodey, who is here. You begin having all these independent meetings, like Kara and Jade. You maybe begin to like talk to this, concubine. All of these things are happening. But as these things are happening in the building, we cut to a kind of shadowy corner. And we see a figure dressed completely in this kind of shifting black material, full face mask covering who they are, as they are fiddling with some sort of electronical device. And we see them deleting access codes and inputting new ones. And then they're sort of like they tap a few of these kind of big chunky metallic keys, and it just flashes up in a single kind of like LCD, little LED screen, security shutters closing. And then the last thing we see is the entire building, the security shutters begin to lower, locking the building off from outside forces. And that's where we're going to take a break.
We're in danger. Danger.
But yeah, that is going to be it for part 1 of our Dune Adventures in the Imperium one shot. We will be back in 5 minutes.
See you in a bit. Bye.
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 Hello! Right, we are back just briefly because we need to mention our amazing giveaway. That's right. Amazing giveaway of this gorgeous limited edition,
So good.
handmade, brass-plated, only 150 in the world, special edition of Dune Adventures in Imperium, which we're giving away thanks to our friends at Modifius who have sponsored this one-shot. Kim, do you want to tell them more about it?
Yeah, basically, if you are in stream chat right now, Twitch chat right now, ! Giveaway for more details on how to enter your name, and we will draw a winner at the end of this stream. UK residents only, I'm afraid. I'm very sorry about that. But
Heavy book.
good luck.
I really want to lick it.
Don't lick it. That will detract from the value.
Or add to it.
Well, in certain circles, maybe.
But yeah, win a copy of this. Very, very cool game. Like, if you love kind of political and intrigue, not even if you love Dune, if you just love like political and espionage kind of games, I think you'd really love this. But yeah, we're going to take a short 5-minute break, get those entries in, and we'll see you soon for part 2.
Good luck.
Bye.
Canley! Hello, welcome back to our Dune Adventures in the Imperium special one-shot sponsored by Modifius, our good friends at Modifius. You can don't forget you can check the link in chat to go to the page all about Dune Adventures in the Imperium. They've also do some amazing bundles. You can go and check all of that good stuff out.
Like the cool dice.
It's like the cool dice. Hang on.
There's some cool art.
Oh, the
There he
peep.
goes.
Peepers peeped.
Spice.
The spice! It must flow!
Every time.
Sucking my glasses.
That's actually deeply insensitive
To Fremen.
Yeah, to Fremen.
I think that it's epic.
I think that's
I think it's epic. No, seriously, we're playing this. It's really cool. It uses the Modifius 2D20 system.
Yeah.
We are doing a very kind of taster one-shot. I was actually saying to Rhea and Kim a bit earlier, I think that this is the kind of game where if you were playing like an extended campaign of this, you could get so into like the intrigue. They have a ton of like guidance in the rulebook about how to set up complicated webs of like NPCs and espionage and intrigue and zones for assets and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, we're trying to give you a big taster of everything. But yeah, very, very cool. So go and check that out.
I like the lore as well. Like, if you click the link, they have so many extra books on just the world, like the universe.
I love it.
And
like Dune, and when we get into it, it's a good way to learn it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And they do a really good as well. Like, as I said, most of us are not Dune fans. I did not really know anything about Dune until we started preparing for this. It does a really good kind of overview of the world, the lore, like how all the different houses and the Landsgrad and spice and the space. It's actually really cool. I think it's really,
It's
really cool
like
lore.
just making a character for this taught me more about the lore than I expected.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it's spelled D-U-N-E, not D-O-O-N.
Book giveaway.
Book giveaway. You can win this amazing limited edition. Only 150 of them.
Sorry. Stuck on the stand.
It just gets because
Look at this. Let's do this. It's precious.
You can win this. It's epic. Kim,
Exclamation giveaway in Twitch chat.
there you go. UK only.
UK
Also,
only,
UK
sorry,
only and
heavy.
We will draw a winner at the end of this stream, so get your raffle in.
Not long left.
Oh, it's Chris
Do it now.
True, 'tis the winner. I haven't entered. I can't
with-
hear.
That, 'cause we want to wrap this up. We're going to fade back in, and I will do a little guidance on what's going on. Welcome back to part 2 of Dune, Adventures in the Imperium. Last time, our characters, I don't want to say heroes, but our characters are members of House Dionysia, a minor house in the Imperium with a focus on information gathering, information brokering, as well as beginning to establish themselves in the arts, in theatre and plays. They have travelled to Arrakis, to Dune itself, and to the city of Carthage under the invitation of House Harkonnen, who have asked them to debut their brand new play, The Death of Peace, here on the planet in their theatre, as a way of bringing a little bit of culture to the Harkonnens' reputation. However, the young heir, Damian Dionysia, a teenager with an illness, has come with several agents of the house and has been attacked by an assassin after Canley, a rigorous and orderly method of assassination between houses, has been declared and accepted against House Dionysia by House Eris. The party, the heroes or the characters, have travelled back to their residence tower where they are staying here on Carthage. And the last thing we saw in a sort of cutaway shot as the various agents of the house are going about their business was a shadowy figure dressed all in black, tinkering with some of the tower's sort of defense systems and automated security, replacing its access codes as it causes the security shutters to lock the building down, preventing anybody from getting in, but also preventing anyone from getting out. And we're going to jump in with a new scene, but we're going to kind of skip ahead a little bit. You guys are all now aware the security system has activated completely against anybody's wishes. The security shutters have come and locked down. I believe that we had Luca was with young Damian up in his room, having sort of helped escort him to bed. we'll kind of go through where everybody else is in just a minute. But there are other members of the house who are here as well, or agents of the house, or allies of the house. You currently have Kane Harkonnen and his concubine and his bodyguard, who would come with you to maybe help interrogate his concubine and as guests. There is also a representative of the Spacing Guild, your pilot, Kiana Surveyor, and her wife, Alice. And then there are 3 other agents of the house. You have the house advisor, Bridger Lowell, who is a mentat. Who is basically, they are so well trained in mental techniques, their brain is basically a computer. You have Marshal Rhodey Vermont, who is kind of like the manages the soldiers. If Kyle is the swordmaster, like tasked with bodyguard duty, then Rhodey is kind of like the more general officer of like the military arm and the forces. And then finally, you have your treasurer Rhea Adelaine, who is here as well. They have all been waiting in the tower for you to return from the theatre. And we jump back in as the security has locked down. The building is plunged into a blackout, and then shortly after, emergency lighting comes back on. And yeah, we find you guys all around the building. Where would Jade and Kara be? Go on.
Can I have my free piece of information for the scene, please?
Sure, well, let's establish where you are first, and then, yeah, absolutely you can.
Probably wherever Kane and the concubine, I would imagine.
Sure.
And with Lady, I would probably be finding Lady Cara because we were separated at the theatre. So it would probably be coming back to get with you to establish what's happening.
Absolutely. So the two of you have made your way, and this tower that you're in, there's 5 floors. Lots of different areas. But there is, on the 3rd floor, there is a western office and an east office, and you could easily basically take the Harkonnens there. And it's not like an interrogation setup, but it's enough that you can like lock the door and you are separated from everybody else to ask them questions and sort of interrogate them to your heart's content. And Kane Harkonnen seems to be happy to like go along with this, right? Is happy to basically hand over his concubine to you as long as he's present. So you guys have made your way there. So we'll jump in and we'll get your free question and also Luca's free question as well, thanks to your talents that you have. But also I want to check in, where would Kyle be? There is a security office on the 1st floor that has also security quarters that most of your guards and stuff are going to be
Probably would have liaised with Marshal Rhodey Vermont, suggested like what's our current situation, where are people stationed.
Sure. All right, we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll give you that information. Let's start with Jade and Kara then. And Jade, you get a free question about the scenario, about the situation. And this is as if you'd spent momentum. So you ask me a question and I will answer it.
Is it possible to override the security, the system that has just been triggered from within?
So you are asking, like, from what you know about security systems and things like that, is it possible for you to override it? I will tell you that the answer is, it is possible, but incredibly difficult. You would basically be hacking into the system. What is more likely is that the access codes have been changed, and somebody would know what those codes are. All right.
Talents are 127.
127. And then just while you ask that question, I'm going to jump over because Luca, you also, this is a brand new scene, you get to ask a free question about the scenario. So this could be about Damian, it could be about the situation, it could be about one of the guests. You've seen them as you've come through the building. You can pretty much ask me anything and I will answer.
Who are the mentor people again?
Mentat.
Yeah, Mentat.
The Mentats are basically, they're a school of training like the Sook Doctors, but their whole thing is they train the human mind in mental techniques to basically turn the brain into a processing computer. They're highly intelligent, but they are mainly suited to like processing data and information. If you've seen the newer movie, they have a gentleman who his eyes go white and he calculates the price of something like in an instant, right?
Who's the guy in the first film with like the black
the little red lip, the little red little mark.
That's what he's
So they
doing.
have little red marks on their lips. They stain their lips red due to a chemical that they drink. And in this case, it is the advisor Bridger. leader, who is he is House Dionysia's mentat. He is basically the one who retains a lot of the information. Like anything that you would think of to use like a supercomputer or a computer for, the mentats do instead. And so he basically keeps a lot of the house information, things like that.
Would Bridger know anything about the shutters?
I would say that that is not security, no. His information is more focused on like the business of the house. Okay. So like you are an information broker as a house, right? So House Dionysia, he probably knows the secrets that the house trades in. Like he knows how much money you have, what accounts you operate under, like things like that, stuff like that kind of information.
Okay. Cool.
In terms of security, your better bet would be Rhodey Vermont, who is the marshal, or Kyle of the house, the swordmaster.
Kyle, help us.
Those would be the ones responsible for things like security codes and stuff.
Okay.
Keep in mind you have that thought separately whilst you're up on your own. I'd say that doesn't count as your question, by the way, because like that's just game knowledge of you would know what these roles do without having to use your cool power.
Okay, so in this room that we're in, is there like, do I know if there's any like secret doors or like any?
Oh, great question. Yeah, great question. Yes. Yep, you get to ask a question. Yes, there is 100% that. There is, throughout this tower, there are secret passageways that connect pretty much all of the levels. There are places where some of it's used for spying. So it's like, you can listen in on a meeting that's happening. It's allow people get to and from places that they need to go. Absolutely. And you know that in this room, in Damian's apartment that he's staying in, there is a large painting. It's this very bleak Harkonnen, black and white, almost like an ink spatter, nice. But it's massive, and it opens up and it leads into a passageway beyond.
Cool.
Awesome. You kind of almost feel the air, like you kind of walk around the building for a minute and you find this passageway.
Can I check it and see if there's anybody inside?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
the eyes in a painting.
Just like, hello. Just for security reasons.
You don't do that when you go to a castle and see an old painting. You just look at it like, go on, blink.
Yeah.
Just the person that's painted.
Well, no, you know it's there.
Yeah.
I think that, there would be some sort of trick to opening it. You know it's there, but you don't know how to open it.
Cool.
So you could make a understand roll with a drive that you think is appropriate.
Truth?
Sure, what the facts are, yeah. Do you have any focuses under understand that might benefit you? It's mainly surgical knowledge.
Surgical knowledge, yeah.
Sure. So no, the focus won't apply, but you can roll with your understanding and truth.
Okay.
Understand and truth. What are you looking for?
13.
All right. This is going to be difficulty 1.
Okay, that is a fail on one, success on the other.
Okay, so a success. There's no fail, it's just like you count your number of successes, right? If you roll high and you get a complication, that's it, but there's no failures, really, unless you don't get enough successes. You spend a bit of time, you slide your hands around it. Damian is not sleeping, but he's kind of like resting, and he's just got his eyes closed, focused on his breathing, and you kind of slide your hand around this painting, and you find just the tiniest part of the frame that you can press in, and when you do, you hear a click and a hiss. And you can open it. And inside is a passageway that leads and connects the other apartments and goes down to the lower floors as well. You make your way through, you don't find any immediate signs of danger, but when you look at the stairwell that leads down to the next floor and like another set of chambers, you find a body. And you immediately, you're a doctor, you don't need to roll for this, you look at this body and you can tell that, well, first of all, it's been stripped naked, and then some sort of acid or chemical has been used to completely disguise their features.
Oh, that's grim.
That's where we're going to leave Dr. Luca. You kind of make your way, almost like you get like a little pen light out and you're making your way through these darkened corridors because it's pitch black in these secret passageways. There's no emergency lighting in here. And you make your way, and then as you stare down and your light kind of passes over this hideously burnt and like at a glance, maybe with further investigation you'll be able to learn more, but at a glance you have no idea whose body this is. But it's been here. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to say you don't know until you investigate.
I imagine like a bead of sweat just starts down the side of the face.
Meanwhile, we jump back out as Jade and Kara, you guys are in this interrogation area. You can hear the noise of Kyle and the Marshal and things like that. sending troops around, and everyone's kind of getting into position and things like that as this goes on. And yeah, you see Kane Harkonnen just kind of says, "Well, here we are." He looks around like something is clearly happening.
I hope that you do not find this an insult to you, my lord. We will ensure your utmost safety while you are in our residence.
Of course you will. It would not befit House Dionysia were something to happen to a member of House Harkonnen in their own guest house.
I think Cara will just give a kind of a curt nod, knowing that it's very true what he's saying, and they're kind of in deep shit right now.
Sure.
So I don't know if this is probably a bit OP for the situation, but I kind of just want to use this just to show off, like, a bit of the adventure. So I have an asset called the Truth-Sayer drug.
Oh, okay.
So by falling into a truth trance, some remarkable Bene Gesserit Reverend Mothers, it's Reverend Mother though, I'll keep reading though, have the ability to distinguish truth from falsehood even with the most practiced liars. Though not all Reverend Mothers need them, Truth-Sayer drugs allow them to enter a truth trance. Without the control afforded by Prana Bindu training, which I also have, anyone lacking the conditioning of the Bene Gesserit taking a Truth-Sayer drug dies a painful death.
Wow.
So it's an asset that I have. For those possessing both the confidence to believe themselves exceptional and desire to practice the mystical Bene Gesserit arts, the Truth-Sayer drugs are a powerful temptation. As such, the Truth-Sayer drugs can be used as currency, poison, or on a Bene Gesserit who can enter the truth trance. But
you can absolutely use this if you want. It will remove the asset. You will lose access to it.
It will kill you.
You can use it, but there is a risk here.
Yeah.
There is a risk that if you are not able to control your body well enough, this might cause you incredible pain or harm, might even kill you.
I do also have the voice, so
That's what I thought you were gonna bust out.
I just wanted to use it on Kyle, just like fuck him up.
Make me do stuff.
Stop
making me dab.
Dance for me, Kyle. Floss. I don't know. What do you guys think? Shall I Truth-Sayer drug it, or go hardcore, or voice it?
What would you do in this scenario?
The thing is, Kim, the player, knows that the concubine probably, I don't know.
Well, you know that they can't speak.
Yeah, they can't speak, and she seems too nervous to be like, I don't know, behind things. But I kind of want to use it on the assassin if we find the assassin. But
Yes, one use. But then again, you have them in this room.
He did say that she could write,
yeah,
so she can't talk, but she could write.
Let's go. Let's try Truth-Sayer drug.
Okay. I need you to make a discipline.
I love it when he makes that.
I need you to make a discipline test.
Oh,
now,
no.
before you roll, this is going to be daunting. This is going to be very difficult.
Okay.
So, daunting is difficulty 3.
Okay.
Now, you have a point of momentum left over from the previous scene, because you had 2 and I took one away.
We had 3 in that previous scene.
Okay, in that case, you have 2 then. Okay, I miscounted.
Can I assist her?
You can. You can assist by. Well, actually, how would you assist? Because this is basically Cara has to control her physical body to deal with the toxin of this. This is like a poison. She's taking a poison, effectively.
Can I assist in basically entertaining the other people in the room? Well, basically, making sure she's not disturbed while she's doing it by being the one to sort of talk to our guests.
I'll allow it. It's going to be. I think it's going to be one of those things of. It will probably be a communicate test, because you're trying to keep them engaged and keep them distracted.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it'd be communicate. Do you have any focuses in communicate?
Listening.
Yeah, it's not going to help you on this one. Yes, I will allow it. Remember, it's you roll 1d20, so you're going to be making a communicate test.
Communicate.
Yep.
Then.
And then whatever drive you think applies the most. And then for Cara, it's going to be discipline with whatever thing you did. I will also remind you a couple of things. You can spend momentum to add d20s. You can give me threat in place of momentum to add d20s. And you also have your point of determination, depending on if your drive statement applies to this. Do you have a drive statement under?
So I feel like I want to go with faith. Those who doubt my faith will be proved wrong, and I have enough faith in myself and my training as a Bene Gesserit.
I'd say that
I
applies. So with that in mind, you can also use your determination point. You have one, which you can use to either re-roll the whole test, or you can use it to automatically guarantee 2 successes, basically. But it's hard to get them back. Determination point. You have one. And you probably won't get it back.
I'm going to use it now.
Okay, right. So you get 2 successes automatically.
So 2 successes
Yeah, I think it removes 1 die. You basically exchange 1 die to get a point back. So,
I could use listening and truth. I've got I will uncover what is true, and I'm assisting.
I think because you're assisting it, it's not going to apply to either of those. You're just going to basically roll a straight check to see if you get a success to help Kara. If this was something you were doing more specifically for an action of your own, that those things might come into apply. But in this, you're basically just trying to
do I just...
For you, it doesn't... Yeah, for you, it's whatever drive you think applies. The actual statement and the focus won't matter.
Okay, that's fine. Well, I picked those, so I need 14.
14, yeah, all right. So let's see if you get a success. And then, Kara,
So I'm going to use my determination point, so that's 2 automatic successes.
take away one of the dice. Yeah.
And so I take one of these away.
Yeah.
And then
Because that automatically counts as 2 successes.
And how many successes do I need?
3.
3.
So you currently... You say one of you needs to get a success on this dice.
I'm going to give you a point of threat.
Okay,
So
then
that
you
I
get
can have
1d20.
dice. Yeah.
Puts me up to 6 threat, by the way.
Yeah, he's got a lot of threat.
Well, you got one more. There you go.
Thanks.
There's a lot of nat 20s that went into that.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Worth it, right?
Failed.
I've made my choice.
I got a 16.
Okay, so you don't help,
I
unfortunately.
don't help you. Sorry.
I need to pass a 12. I got a 2 and a 20. So I do pass.
You do pass, but no
you've got a
bonuses, and you get a complication. All right, give me a second here.
You die from the
Give
drop.
me a second here. All right. So, you ingest the Truth-Sayer, and you begin the Bene Gesserit Trance. And it does not take you long, Kara. This is the first time you've tried this. And in your gut, it begins to burn hard. And that fire spreads through your body as if your very bones were burning on the inside. And your body is racked with pain, and you begin to feel sick, and you recant the litany in your mind. You can read it out if you want. So I know you're excited because you wrote it down.
I did write it down.
did write it down.
I did it on nice
In full
paper
calligraphy.
with good pen as well. So yeah, if anyone was
This is like, imagine like this scene, set it up like a movie, right? We see like Kara's body shaking as like this serum like goes through her system, and we just hear this muttering.
I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me, and when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing, and only I will remain.
You shake. You stave off the worst of it. But with that complication, I'm going to give you a temporary trait for the rest of this scene, that you are sickened. So it's going to make things a bit harder. Like you're like you are in that state that you're hyper aware of everything, but it's almost distractingly hyper aware. Like the nausea, you can feel every ounce of fluid moving in your gut, every kind of blast of air or breath on your neck. It's incredibly uncomfortable, and it's going to distract you a little bit. So it's going to basically make things a bit harder for you in the future. But you now have the ability of you went to this incredible thing. At this point, I think for you don't need to make a test to see if someone's lying. If somebody says something to me, if I say something to you for this scene, so sort of like however long this kind of interrogation probably lasts for, you can just say, is that true or is that false? And I will tell you if it's true or false, right? With no test. You can just ask me if it's true or false. Because that's the benefit of using this asset. That asset is now gone. I am going to spend... It just says various. I'm going to spend 3 points of my 6th threat on something.
Okay.
on something.
3 big points.
Yeah,
That's a lot of pointage.
it's a lot of pointage. So Kara and Jade, like in this scenario, like you've been trying to keep them distracted. You can see that Kane Harkonnen is kind of looking around. He looks very bored. He's not really engaging with you in conversation, waiting for Kara to finish her thing. But yeah.
Can I give the concubine a notepad and
Yeah, easy.
a pen?
Yeah, easily
So
enough.
that she can answer
Sure.
questions.
Yeah.
You can ask questions as well. I can read. It doesn't have
Right.
to be like I
Okay.
ask them. Like,
Yeah, it's just that she can tell if
I can
someone's
read
lying.
them,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you could ask the questions.
yeah. Yeah. So I guess I would just start with, what is your name?
Yeah. And also keep in mind that knowing if somebody's lying is not the same as picking up on like body language. Like they might be telling you the truth, but they're twisting that truth, right? So you can still make checks, Jade, if you want to use like some of your abilities and things like that as well.
Yeah. Can I see, like, mine is more physical based, so it's like physical empathy and
Yeah.
understanding of people's body language and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So can I see if I can figure out what the concubine is feeling at the moment?
Yeah.
So I would probably use understand.
Yep. Understand was going to be the
And-
thing that I would say.
Truth.
Yep. Understand and truth.
So I got 16.
Yeah. Let me determine the difficulty because it's based on her abilities. I think that's going to be. Yeah, I'll tell you one way. That's actually, yeah. So difficulty 0, she failed. So you just need to see how many successes you get. If you get no successes, then nothing happens.
2 successes.
2 successes, all right. So that's 2 points of momentum. You can either spend now or later.
I will bank.
Right, so you get 2 points of momentum in the pool. You can only have a maximum of 6 in there, so definitely spend them.
We've got 4 at the moment.
And then, what was your question again?
I'm just going to start simply. What is your name?
She writes down Nuya, N-U-Y-A, truth.
How long have you been in the service of Lord Kane?
She will write down 3 years, truth.
Do you have any connection with House Ares?
You don't see this because you're so focused on the thing and you're being distracted by this, and also but you're focusing on the lies and the truth. And she writes, no. Jade, there is a subtle glimpse towards Kane. When she says, when that question's asked, she glances towards Kane and then she looks back. The answer is false, by the way.
Do you wish to answer that question again?
She just shakes her head. True. She doesn't want to answer it.
Bear in mind, I can tell when you are lying.
That's more of an intimidation. Give me a communicate. And I think power on that one, because you are trying to get what you want out of this.
Okay, they're not my best skills, so
Yeah.
communicate is 5 and power is 4.
9 to beat.
8 and a 9.
Wow. So 2 successes. So I got it was 1 difficulty, I said 1 difficulty. She quavers under your sort of authority and the voice and knowing what you are as a Bene Gesserit. She glances, Jade, again, you pick up on this. She glances at Kane, and Kane he's acting very ambivalent. He's like, what's this? But every now and then, out the corner of his eye, he like looks towards her, and you see that his eyes just narrow at her, and she nods her head.
Did you know that Canley was to be declared?
She shakes her head. True.
Why are you so nervous when you first saw Lord Damian today?
She writes, I was afraid. True.
Of what?
Glances towards Kane again. Kane just rolls his eyes. Of what was to come. What might happen, she writes. True.
So you knew an assassination attempt was about to happen?
Shakes her head. True. As in, she says no, and she's not lying.
Did anyone else know of the assassination attempt that was about to happen?
Yeah, when you say that, it's Jade, you immediately pick up both, like, Kane, like, holds his hands up, and she looks in his direction. She doesn't answer the question, but she just looks straight at him, and is a dead giveaway that he absolutely knew.
He knew.
You don't need Truth-Sayer Drug for you to pick up on that, right? He just looks quite ambivalent.
I will look at Kara and look at Kane
Yeah.
and
Just takes a big breath full of his narcotic.
My Lord Kane,
Yes.
do you have an alliance with House Ares?
There's no point lying to a Bene Gesserit, is there?
I appreciate your candor.
An alliance would be a very strong word. Eris is a forgotten house, barely remembered. But they have uses. They asked for a small favor.
Are you in charge of the assassin in this house right now?
No.
He's telling the truth.
Of course not. What terrible manners would that be?
What bargain did you make? What service did you offer the house?
I do not see a reason for me to answer that question. Lady Kara, you may be Bene Gesserit, but House Dionysia is small and vulnerable. House Harkonnen has no reason to tell you.
And he sits on this, and you can tell this, Jade. He knows that he doesn't have to answer these questions, right? He's not. His house isn't trying to kill you. Whether he knows something or not, unless you either convince him or bribe him or threaten him, he has no reason to tell you anything. His concubine is terrified of you, so she's willing to answer questions, but Kane is not intimidated by this, not right now anyway.
What could our house offer you?
Very. Negotiations is appreciated.
Can you give me, this would be communicate. And I think that, drive-wise, I'm kind of happy with whatever you want to pick here.
Faith.
Sure, yeah. You believe in the Imperium, you know how the Imperium functions. You have faith that a bribe or a negotiation is how you get things done. Sure.
So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14 and a 2.
14 and a 2, so is that a success? One success?
One success.
All right, one success. I'm going to say that this is going to be an ongoing thing. I'm going to give you 2 points towards convincing him. You don't know how many more that you need. He's not thoroughly convinced. He's just
House Dionysia is an information broker, but we have our own spies and agents that we can use. I'm not sure if there is anything you could offer us. And besides, how do we even know that there will be a House Dionysia? Canley has been declared against you. Perhaps there will not be a House Dionysia after this evening.
Surely you would not want to side with the victor, and the victor has not been determined yet.
Very true, very true.
kind of listens in. I'm going to come back to this in a minute.
Yeah.
Kyle, you meet with Rhodey Vermont, who's the marshal. You have a brief kind of exchange. He's like, good to see you, pal. He kind of slaps you on the shoulder. This is a real fuckfest. Security, we have no control. We've lost complete control of any of the security systems in the building.
What?
The shutters locked down, communications dead. We can't reach out to anybody. We can't even get an ornithopter onto the roof at this point. I've sent my men to try and secure the rooms as best we can.
Yeah, which rooms you got?
We've got Lady Jade and Lady Kara with the Harkonnen up in the West Office.
Right.
We've got the Treasurer up in her apartment. The Doctor is with Damian, and I've put most of my forces up with him. But the others are kind of trying to go about their business as best they can.
All right.
I think Advisor Bridger is in the in the lounge. He was trying to get the communications back working.
Okay. All right.
And yeah, he's like, what should we do?
Look, man, this is all kind of fucked. We got this. It's fine. We know this place.
All right. Let's me and you do a patrol, see what we can find. Maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a power system down in the basement where we could go and, I've checked it, but maybe I missed something.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And
I'll follow you.
Yeah, you go down with him.
Yeah.
All right. You go down there, you start checking that out. We'll come back to that in a minute. As we return to Luca, Dr. Luca, you see this kind of hideously mutilated body, like completely, like the face has been, it's almost like mummification, like it's shrunk and it's the decomposition is like rapid at this point. It's clearly been done to disguise the identity of whoever this is.
Let's see. Trying to see if I can use my chief physician role here.
Yeah. What's that? What is that? Just like your role in general?
Well, I can. It says here that I can perform autopsies on enemy agents and stuff, and
Very relevant.
I can make sure there's no tricks, traps, implanted bombs, or anything like that on bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, you can do that. I mean, I guess that would be, you'd make a skill check. It'd be understand because it's knowledge, but you have a focus in surgery, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that focus can apply. So anything under your understanding will count as a critical.
Cool.
And then I guess this is your responsibility. So duty again for you. Do you want to spend any momentum? You can buy more D20s. You've currently got what, 4 in the pool?
4.
Yeah.
Can I spend one?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's your choice. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So 3d20s.
3d20s. I'm going to say this is going to be difficulty because this is going to be challenging. You need 2 successes on this.
Okay. 3 successes.
3 successes, so actually 1 more than you needed. So remember, you can actually bank that as momentum, or you can ask me another question, because this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to let you ask me, you've got 3 successes, so you can, for each success, you can ask me a question. So like,
Okay.
you needed 2, so, for each additional success, you can ask me an extra question. So you get 1 question for free, and then if you want, you can spend the other success on another question, and then you can burn momentum to keep asking me more questions if you want to as well.
Okay, and can I bank any?
If you want to, yeah. If you've got 1 that you can bank as well,
Okay.
but then you can spend momentum to ask more. But you get 1 question for free.
1 question.
And you've got the body here. This is a full autopsy. Like you pull out your tools and you begin like examining this in a kind of like, all right, medical way. Like you can ask me anything about this body.
Do I know who it is or who they were?
You can identify. You don't know the exact identity because it's too badly damaged. What I will tell you is that it is a female. Between 5'4" and 5'8", and not too old or not too young, sort of looking at like 30s-ish.
Okay.
That's not too old. That's good to know.
Listen, I'm nearly 40, man. But yeah, like you can't tell exactly who it was, but that is like, you can get that amount of information from them.
Do I know how long they've been down here?
Yep, you can spend your other success on that question if you'd like to. Yep. They have been here for approximately 3 days. But that's hard to tell because of this, like, whatever they've used to, like, hide the figures is kind of accelerating the decomp. But you're pretty sure that they've actually been here for about 3 days.
Okay.
And it looks like that they are, well, no, that's it. I need to not give you too much information because that's the whole point of this game is you spend things.
DMing you, isn't it?
I give you all the information.
Can I ask 1 more?
You can spend a momentum to do that, yeah. So you've got, what, 3 in the bank now?
3 in the bank.
Yeah, so you can spend that as you wish.
Okay.
I think you can spend 1 per skill roll, so you can spend 1 momentum.
1 momentum. Okay, is that all right if I spend 1 more? Cool. Do I know their cause of death?
Yeah, you do actually, yeah. They were initially killed, like obviously this has all been done afterwards. They were killed by a poisoned blade. Yeah, and it would be a bodkin-like dagger, a short, common-looking knife.
Okay.
Yeah, you find a puncture wound in their back, and judging by the discoloration of the skin, you can tell that this was a lethal, like instantaneous poison.
Okay.
You know,
I think after discovering that,
neurotoxin.
Luca will rush, but hurriedly put away their tools, rush back into Damian's room, check on Damian.
Yeah, he's all he's like, Doctor, is everything all right? Like, and he's like breathing, but he's like kind of come to, and he's just like, where did you, like, what's going on? Like, the shutters are down?
Yes. We've yet to find out what's happening, but it looks like the building has gone into security protocol.
Has anyone heard from my mother or father? I know that communications were down, but is there any word from them?
I can have a look. I need to go fetch the guards. I'll ask them.
All right.
I will be back in a second.
All right, okay. And you go to, like, grab somebody.
Yeah.
All right, cool. As you begin making your way down, we'll probably cut back to Kara and Jade to finish up this interrogation. You're probably going to be coming down the stairs past where they're in the offices, basically. But yeah, Kara and Jade, like... you kind of make that point of Kara. You kind of say, like, don't you want to be on the side of the victor when it's unknown? And Kane, that's not quite enough to sway Kane. He'll say,
I like to hedge my bets. I'm in a rather safe position. See who comes out on top.
A noble endeavour. I will offer one thing, however, a boon, perhaps, to tip the scales. I am in possession of a crysknife. Do you understand the significance?
The Harkonnens have been fighting the Fremen for some time. I am familiar with the crysknife.
The significance to the Fremen is sacred. Also, it is said that the owner of a crysknife is friend to the Fremen. I leave that to you to use how you will.
It would be a very useful tool. I can see this being a favorable negotiation.
Especially since I've heard that the Fremen have been acting up a bit more than usual recently.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
do you want to give me an understand roll, Jade? Because you're kind of watching this, like, whilst Kara is engaged in the conversation, you're kind of watching the body language a bit more. Yeah, I think truth would probably be the right drive for this. Let me roll to see the difficulty. Oh, okay. The difficulty is going to be 1, because I flubbed the roll. Not enough.
Got a success and a fail because I got a 20.
Oh, so you got a complication. You would be able to tell when he says that, like, yes, I've heard that. There's something about, like, what he just said, something about the Fremen attacks and that they've been attacking, as if Kane knows more than he's letting on. When you say that, but as you're quite distracted by this, like you're kind of like focusing so hard on Kane, that complication, I'm gonna have the bodyguard slip out, like whilst you guys are in the conversation, like he leaves the room without you noticing. And yeah, but like Kane turns around to the business and it's just like holds out his hand, almost like expectantly, like hand it over.
The deal has not yet been done.
Oh, I'm afraid that I am very much the type to payment up front.
There's an interesting fact, before I hand this over, about Chris knives. Part of the Fremen tradition believe that once a knife has been sheathed, has been drawn, it cannot be sheathed unless blood has been drawn. Interesting.
Very.
On that line, that is the point that you all hear a scream come from the floor above you. Dr. Luca, as you are making your way to meet with the others and go to the security room, maybe to try and find Kyle or to try and find the marshal, you pass by and you're moving through like the second floor of apartments. And when you do, you see a handmaid, like a kind of servant woman, like who, you know, attends to things around the house and like around the tower. Sorry, is probably the ones who like, you know, like a kind of like cleaning lady kind of like thing, or, you know, kitchen staff or something like that. And she's holding like a tray of like food and screams as she's looking into an apartment. And she drops the tray and she just is like pointing. She's like, dead, and points into this room.
What, another one? Okay. Another one. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll just beeline straight into the room.
Yeah, you move into the room and you see that inside the room is the treasurer of House Dionysia, Rhea Adelaine, and she is just like on the ground, like completely pale, not moving, and blood coming like out of her eyes, basically, just like.
I'll take her, roll her over, look for any like signs of injury or.
Yeah, give me a understand and duty. I think again you're doing very much what Doctor does. It's like this is my job.
2 successes, 3 and an 8.
3 and an 8. Yeah, 2 successes. You check over and there is no stab wounds, no garrots, almost nothing to indicate the cause of death, and then you see it. The tiniest little injection point, like a hair thin. And you would know what caused this. There is a tool called a Hunter Seeker. It's a remote controlled drone that injects like a lethal injection. Very difficult to find, but you don't know anything more than that. You only know that it's called a Hunter Seeker and that it was capable of delivering a deadly neurotoxin. And it's like, you find this like holocal fine hair.
Hunter Seeker. Damian, and I'll start just shouting for the guards.
Sure. You shout for the guards, and there are a couple. There are a couple that were outside Damian. There's a couple that are outside Damian's room. There was a couple. It looks like you don't see anybody else around here, but there were a couple upstairs who are like, "Doctor, are you all right?" And they kind of call you down. We don't want to leave Lord Damian up here on his own. But are you okay?
There's been a murder.
There's been a murder. Kyle, downstairs, you and Rhodey are investigating basically a kind of power generator, for this whole tower, basically. It looks like it's been sabotaged. You both can see that it's been blown open with some small explosives. The wiring's all been damaged. That's why the power is now on emergency power. But you also find the security point. As you are doing this, as you kind of lean in and start examining, you hear a kind of sudden thump and a struggle, and you see a shadowy figure kind of move past you in a blur, and you see Rhodey is clutching at his neck where it's been slashed across the side, and you see a figure basically dart for the stairs leading up.
Holy shit, I'm chasing.
Sure. You start bombing after it. Give me a move roll, and then you get to decide the drive on this.
Justice.
Okay, go for it.
1 success, 120.
1 success, 120. Okay, I'll see if I get the determinant. I get what I think.
Rolled so high.
So I got a 20 and a 2.
Okay.
So it is a success for you. I'm going to spend one of my threat to negate my complication. Sorry, 2 of my threat to negate my complication, which is something I can do as a GM. So there's no complication on the bad guy side. For you, you chase after them and you manage to keep speed, but you're you're kind of running up the stairs. You blast through the lobby, and you don't have enough time as this shadowy figure kind of moves past, barrels through. They throw something behind you, like a bookcase and a potted plant, and you're stumbling after them. You're just not able to quite catch ground, and then you trip on something and poof, you kind of hit the ground and lose a bit of momentum as they're kind of chasing after you.
Can I send comms?
Yeah, well, you can try to, yeah.
I'm going to shout for all guards to me.
Yeah, any electric comms don't work, but you shout and shout,
Yeah.
no guards seem to come.
Okay. Who am I nearest out of this lot?
The floor above, 2 floors up, are the Jade and Kara in the interrogation room currently.
Okay.
But they're upstairs. You have to go either up the stairs or in an elevator.
Where's
or something.
Damian from there?
At the very top.
Okay.
So he's 5 floors up.
I might just skip these 2 and go straight to Damian.
Okay, sure. We'll jump back to Kara and Jade then as that is happening. So you guys hear a scream just as you say it cannot be sheathed again until it's spilled blood, and then you hear a coming from above, and the Harkonnen just kind of looks up.
And what can you offer to us in this moment?
Still just gonna hold his hand out give me knife. Give knife,
I'm
I
gonna
tell
use the
you.
knife to go do a murder, though.
Yeah, but that's why he wants knife. Give knife. He will just look and just say,
My statement still stands. I take payment up front.
I'll pass the knife to him.
he kind of he examines it, takes his time, tucks it into his belt.
House Eris asked a favor of House Harkonnen. They asked us for access codes to some of our residential towers. Asked us for our shifts on staff and guards and things like that. We gladly gave it because these are our properties. We did not know what they would be used for.
Can you change the access codes to raise the shutters?
I can, yes. But I will. It will take some time.
Begin. I must see to the air.
Very well.
And he'll just gesture. He leaves the concubine in here. He steps outside, and yeah, he vanishes.
And then I'm gonna go straight for Damian, I think.
All right. So you guys are making your way up, probably a little bit after Kyle, because like you were finishing up that conversation. So Luca, you're kind of like calling up to the guards. They don't want to leave Damian. You're like asking for me, and you see Kyle. Basically, he's running upstairs. Like you bump into Dr. Luca on your way up as you're making your way towards Damian.
Doctor,
Kyle,
stuff is going on now. I need to go to Damian.
me too.
Come with me.
Okay, I will, gladly.
The two of you make your way upstairs, and you can see that the two guards that were stationed outside, the shadowy figure that you were chasing, they've actually cut down. It looks like they had a scrap. One of them's like bleeding heavily, like one of them's clutching his side. It looks like he's been stabbed. The other one is is standing over the assassin and has killed them. Like has like basically plunged their knife in. He's like, he rushed up just before us. I think he was running for Lord Damian.
Good work.
Good job.
Thank you, Kate. Like, and you can see that these aren't your guards; these are Rhodey's guards that he sent up.
Take this man to the med bay downstairs.
Okay, yeah, he's like, yeah, sure, and they start making their way
Doctor,
back down
I
to
need
the
to
security
with
officers. Yeah,
As you wish.
You guys step in. Damien looks at. He's just like, is everything all right? What's happening?
I'm going to lock the door, make sure no other assassins are getting in.
Sure. Okay. Yep.
Is there any other like entrances or anything like that? I'm going to like scout this room.
Yes, behind this painting.
Great.
Yeah, you see that, and yeah, Damien's just like, he's just like, I need to know if Mother and Father are all right. We need to get communications, raise these shutters. Can we call an ornithopter to get us out of here?
Absolutely.
All right, okay.
By the way, sir, I'm going to. Is there communications like that here?
They would be that they were down. They would be down in the security office, but they were disabled. It might be that like if the access codes can be restored, that can be rebooted and stuff like that. But it will take time.
How you feeling, Damian? You okay?
I
You okay? You need it?
yes, my breathing's tight, but I'm all right. I can do this. I can handle this. And he's like looking around, and
What protection do you have?
just my I have my shield.
Great. And you, Doctor? You have a shield?
No,
Okay. Why not?
don't have one.
I stab her in the back. Stab him in the back.
Yeah.
Stab
Yeah.
yourself in the back.
No, I do that. Bodkin.
Yep. So you roll battle plus whatever your drive is. I believe that you have a talent. No, that you don't have a shield. Do you have any kind of weapon, Doctor?
You're actually doing this?
Yeah.
What? What? You actually?
Doctor,
Yeah.
do you have any other? What assets do you have? Do you have a weapon? I did tell you that you all had secrets.
They're in cahoots.
Damn it! I've got a poison snooper. I've got truth serum.
Okay, so no weapons.
I've got no weapons.
So you are unarmed at this point. So what I need you to do,
I'm a doctor.
Dr. Luca, is what I need you to do is roll battle plus a drive.
Oh shit!
Fine. Battle.
We determine how the difficulty first, and then we roll it from there.
Do I have to fight? Can I try and talk?
You can decide whatever you want to do right now. You decide whether you are going to try and defend yourself or you're going to try and talk to him.
I want to try and talk to him. 'Cause
Okay. All right, what do you say?
Are you after the boy?
You stab Dr. Luca in the back. Because I know what you're planning to do, and like there is just immediately there is no hesitation. So this is
his mouth.
this is going to be difficulty 0. So battle plus a drive.
Yeah, I'm gonna do power. What must be done must be done.
Must be done, must be done. Yep.
Yeah, I succeed twice.
Succeed twice. So being a player character, you do have some momentum, Doctor, right? So being a player character,
Yeah, we do.
you...
We've got how much?
I'm going to
Two
say,
left.
so normally it would need to be an extended task to fully defeat you. But that is going to be 2 successes. What is your battle, actual number?
4. It's my lowest.
That is enough. Because you would have 4 boxes, basically. But you can spend momentum to resist defeat. Yes.
You got 2.
Yes.
Can I spend one?
You can. You,
Yes,
it costs 2 to do this.
You spend both of them.
Yeah. Okay, I'll
Right.
spend both.
So what this means is, when they do, they are not simply defeated and may continue the conflict, but are not healed in any way. So what happens is, you are stabbed with this blade in the back, and you have a hand over your mouth, preventing you from screaming. Damian screams, but Doctor, you are holding on. There is some part of you that, even though you've been stabbed, you're through sheer will, you are just no, I can't go down here.
Me thinking that I've done the deed, because
Sure.
that's very successful.
Yep,
Stabbing
yep.
in the back. I'm going to throw you to one side and then grab Damian by the neck.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to throw it over to everybody else. So as you guys are racing upstairs, now you hear Damian scream. The guards were on their way. They're just Swordmaster Kyle, the Doctor, and they're one of them's clearly injured, but they basically come with you. You arrive and you hear the sound of Damian screaming and the Doctor kind of gurgling as you arrive, and the door is locked. What do you guys do?
Have you got anything?
Kick it down. I don't know.
Yeah, you can absolutely try and kick it down. It would be battle.
Or
It's
unless
physical
I can
conflict.
shoot the lock with a pistol.
Yeah, you can do that.
Do that.
Yeah, it's still going to be battle to do this, and then you can apply whichever drive you want. But because you're using a really good asset for this, it will basically decrease the difficulty by 1 because you're making it easier to fucking open the door with a bang.
Justice?
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Do what's right.
Justice?
Yeah.
So it's a 12.
So and you've got is that all of your momentum
Yeah,
gone? I
we've
think.
done.
Yeah. Well, you can give me threat if you want to add more dice.
Oh, no, it's fine. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. It's 1 difficulty, so you need 1 success.
1 success.
Just so bam, 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 and the Mauler pistol is kind of almost hyper compressed air, because you can't use las guns and things like that. So it's a slow moving slug round, but it's enough to blow the lock off this door. Bam, 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 kicks open the door. You succeeded on the test. You have a chance, as the door opens, you see the scene and you see Kyle with his hand around Damian's neck. Well, so this is what I was going to say, is part of the battle maneuver that you've done, because we're basically entering a skirmish now, right? So we've got a couple of zones. We're going to say that the zone by the bed, where currently he's got Damian by the throat. We've got the rest of the room where Luca is currently lying down. We have the doorway and the corridor, and then the secret passage. These are all areas of the space. Because you succeeded on a very bold maneuver to bam, 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 you can basically fire a few shots towards Kyle and force him to move. So Kyle, you have to let go of Damian and dodge to the side, or you're going to get shot in the back here. So because of that, and that was part of the success of you doing the bold action, basically. So where do you think you would dive to in this small apartment room?
You bitch.
Behind the bed.
Okay, so
towards the painting.
Okay, so you move towards the secret escape, basically.
Yeah.
So you force him away from Damian, bam, 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 and he dodges to the side. This skilled sword master, protector of this house, leaps to the side. You can now throw. Initiative would go to, in this case, Kyle or myself. I'll have the guards go. Because they did kind of run up with you. The 2 guards are going to try and rush towards you, Kyle, and just try and body check you. Actually, no, they would draw their swords. What are you talking about? They're going to draw their swords and rush towards you. So I need you to give me a battle plus drive test to see how difficult this is going to be for them.
Okay, battle plus my drive of fucking justice.
Yeah, I mean, you can use power or justice. Yeah, it depends. I mean, you know the motivations for this.
Justice.
Sure, okay.
What we do will return to us.
Yeah. That fits to me.
15, 2 successes. One's a 2.
What's your focus for your battle, by the way?
My battle, dueling and assassination.
Well, dueling is 100. Well, assassination and dueling are both going to apply here. So that means you get that 2 is a critical success, right? That counts as 2.
Oh, yeah.
So how many successes total?
2.
Just
3.
3. So I've got to be a 3 here. It's going to be pretty tricky. I'm going to spend. No, I can't. They get 2, but it's not enough. So they kind of sweep in, clang, 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 blades as you just like an expert swordsman, bam, 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 knock them out the side. The injured one you just finish off, slit his throat. The other one is like still fighting you, is currently engaged with you, but is on the defensive now, like engaging with you. It's going to be an obstacle to you getting what you want, basically.
I'm also going to treat him as an obstacle to be shot at as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll definitely make it harder. All right, so they'll and then that is going to be their bold action. They kind of move in. You're kind of pressed up against them now as an obstacle. We'll go to Kara. Oh, actually, Luca or Kara, you guys can choose.
I don't mind.
I'd like to do a thing.
Do a thing.
Then I'll throw it to you.
Cool.
I'm going to step in, and I'm going to use the voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those who may not know, in the world of Dune, Bene Gesserit have a trained thing called the voice. You've been trained to modulate your voice to influence the subconscious minds of others. In this game, you may use the voice whenever you speak to someone else, and though you must be able to observe them for a short while beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, you've witnessed Carl enough. Yeah, you've witnessed him plenty of times.
When you use the voice, you may add 1, 2, or 3 points to threat to score the same number of automatic successes on any communication test made to influence your chosen target. The greater the number of the automatic successes, the more overt your use of voice, which others may notice. Your training also allows you to buy these automatic successes on any test made to resist the voice, the effects.
You're definitely using it.
I shot someone. It's fine. They're gonna notice.
I think subtlety as well out here.
Yeah, at this point, this is all very obvious, right? So what are you using the voice to do? What are you saying?
Can you say it in the voice?
I'm intrigued.
We'll do it together. The different pictures. We'll do it.
I don't know how mean to be to Trot.
Do it. He just stabbed.
You did just stab the doctor, and I like the doctor. I was going to say surrender, but I think I'm going to say stab yourself.
Right. So you have to still make a communicate test with a drive.
Communicate.
And I think this is power. Because this is like what you want.
yourself.
Or justice, but I think power.
I'd like justice, which is what we would do, will return to us. He just stabbed the doctor, and I want him to stab himself.
Go with it. So this is going to be communicate plus justice.
So it's 6 and a 5, so 11. But then what's the thing about like...
So you basically score automatic successes by giving me threat.
Yeah, I'm going to give you threat. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of threat.
3, 2,
Look at that
1.
little face. You want
You do what you want.
Hey,
It's your power. You choose.
This is
You're
the
using
heir
it.
of the
Yeah.
household.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to give you 3. I'm going to take 3.
Delicious. Yum, yum.
Have fun with that.
I will. I've got a plan.
So I've given you 3 threats. So what does that mean again? Do I
You get 3, or before you even roll, you've got 3 successes.
3 successes?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So you roll. We'll see how many successes you get, and then Carl's going to have to try and resist.
A 1 and a 9.
So that's
So that's 2 successes.
2 successes,
And
so
it's the
5.
1 a mega success?
What are your focuses?
So my
communicate?
focus is faction lore, Bene Gesserit.
No, if you had like intimidate or like authority or something like that. So that's still 5. Pretty sure he can't succeed on this, but we'll see. So this would be discipline and then a drive.
4.
You can give me
Power.
threat to add momentum, by the way.
I don't give him.
Yeah, I'll give you all the threat in the world.
I'll say I'm going to limit you to 1 threat, so you can roll 3 dice. So you have to basically get some crits here to
I'm
succeed.
gonna use my power to physically resist myself.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you start to,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Do you have any focuses under discipline?
under discipline. Hell no, it's a 4.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, unfortunately, a bit
Very low.
weak-minded. So you got to hope for some nat 1s here.
3, 4, and a 9.
So that is
3 successes.
3 successes, but not enough. The power of the voice. Stab yourself.
Where would I stab myself? In the belly.
Yeah,
You
probably.
stabbed me in your own back.
Yeah.
Little help, guys, little help.
I can't.
turns around. Sorry, you left your knife there. There you go.
You want this?
Because you're effectively a bad
missing
guy at this
this?
point, I'm going to spend 2 of my threat to let you have a resist defeat.
Thank you.
Nice.
So you are heavily injured, like the same, like you have just stabbed yourself in the gut, but you're still standing. Same as like Dr. Luca, like you're kind of like on the ground, like as you feel the voice as you are compelled to do this. I'm then going to spend the last 3 points of my threat. I need you, Jade, to make a move roll as you hear.
What is it moving?
Moving whatever drive you think. This is to like this is to
Just go straight for the doctor.
to protect yourself.
While he's down. You just get wrecked by everything.
So justice, like what is right, power, what you want. I think this probably sounds like power because it's like you physically
It's the
protecting
worst.
yourself.
That is the worst combo
Yeah.
possibly could have.
Yeah, unfortunately that's what you
It's
got
only
wrong.
an 8.
Yeah. See what you get.
No, I fail.
How many did you get? Any successes? Not one? All right, okay. That means I
Oh
got
no, wait, I got 6. So
So okay, so you got 1.
was
So
9.
that is going to be 2 days for me. Assassin has that. Oh, I mean, I failed on 1. 1 success. So I do get a success against you, but it's not going to be enough to fully take you out here. So you feel something just graze you as this tiny, like bumblebee-sized drone nearly injects you with something, and it does scrape you, and like you feel like maybe your arm starts to go a little bit numb as you become like slightly poisoned. But this thing nearly nips you as you now see this hunter seeker has joined the fight, being controlled from some unseen place.
Jesus
As the I'm going to use the threat.
I should have just let it
fill that in.
happen. Bye, peace out.
And then done. But yeah, so you've stabbed yourself there, Kyle, and we basically jump into like it's a kind of a fresh round here at this point. I was the last to act, and I did so subtly. So I'm going to retain it. So Kyle, you get to act. You are going to be like crippled, so you're going to be anything you do now is more difficult, right? It's going to add a
in front
difficulty.
of me.
Yes.
Still very able.
Yeah.
And they're looking like they're about to attack.
Oh yeah, this guy's going to try and fight you 100%, and you're in a bit of a weakened state. But you can try and fight him first.
I'm going to kill him.
Okay. So this is going to be. Let me determine the
Have
difficulty
the
for you.
slow blade effect if he has a shield or anything.
He does. He does have a shield on, so you ignore that basically, so he doesn't get his bonus.
He's
Cool
dunking.
under pressure as well.
Good. That's good to know. That is going to be. So it would normally be 2. It's going to be 2 difficulty, but because you're injured, it's actually going to go up to 3 difficulty on this.
3.
But dueling is a focus, so you might be able to get some crit successes here.
Yeah, got a battle.
And I've got no more threat to give you, so I can't give you any more momentum or threat, unfortunately.
He's got no more threat to give.
Okay, so I need to beat
His
16.
threats have runneth dry.
16, and then what's your battle skill?
Dueling and assassination.
What's the number? Sorry.
8.
All right, so any numbers 8 or under count as 2 successes.
7.
Oh my god.
16. So on the money. So 2 successes, 1.
2 successes. So yeah, 3
And
successes.
1, 3, yes.
So you do enough, and this guy's incidental. So even in your weakened state, you wait. He parries. There's a couple of jostle of movements, and then you do that thing of like you grab the back of his neck, and then the blade into the shield. It goes red, and you just rip his throat out, push him to the side. Damian's right there, but
These are all people I know and have trained.
Oh yeah, these have been friends for years.
Yeah.
But you've been waiting. You have been sent. This has been what you've been waiting for, the moment for vengeance.
That was Stan and Kenny. Just killed them.
Dan and Kenny.
All right. That's a very bold action, so we throw it over. But you do force, as you fight this guy off, basically, you and kill him. Probably, Kara, you either have to move, otherwise he's gonna, basically get to like Damian at this point, or you have to move Damian, you have to move one of you guys at this point out of the way, like he can move an asset basically.
I mean, I think Kara would instinctively move to Damian.
Yeah. You just have to move into into a zone. You're just forced, you are now imposing yourself between Kyle and Damian, right? So he might come and finish you off next or something.
try.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he can try.
Billy.
But one more hit for you or the doctor, and that's it. You're done. You're done. You're out. All right. So yeah, one of you guys gets to go.
I can go.
Okay. Yeah, Doc. Yeah, Doctor.
Dr. Luke will just start getting up, trembling.
Blood.
Enough of this. You kill the boy. You answer to the Bene Gesserit.
Answer to my father.
Who dat?
Who is your father?
Who dat? Are we allowed to like do a bit of roleplay? Like, is that or is this kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys can talk. You guys can have like your last speeches and things like that. You can say more if you want. There's no like 6-second rule here. It's all very narrative.
Continue
You're not
with your
hearing
dying
me
words.
plainly. The boy dies. The Bene Gesserit will come for you and for all of us.
Good. Maybe it's deserved. After what your house has done to me and mine.
What the boy has done is of no matter to you.
Luca, what do you mean? What do you mean the Bene Gesserit? Why would they care?
I'm sorry, this was a secret kept from you for a long time.
What are you talking about?
Lady Kara is your mother!
What? No, that can't be true. And like behind you, like Damian is now looking at you with abject like horror and just like, what?
Sorry, is this EastEnders?
Dune.
This is Dune, baby!
Dune.
Told you all had secrets. So you see this moment.
My mother.
Really, I think like because this is if this was an NPC, I would have them like back off. You'd make a check to try and convince them to stand down. But I think in this case, Kyle's not going to be swayed by it.
No,
he does not care at this point. Vengeance
Sorry.
is too strong. But I would say that like.
Kyle! What you doing, Kyle? Phil!
I've got nothing left.
I've got nothing left.
You come back here, Kyle! That's the voice.
Let's see.
Get back here, Kyle.
Get back here.
Slay.
Let's do make a communicate roll with truth, because this is you using the truth here for sure.
Very cool. 6
boozing
and
that
6,
secret.
12 total.
Yeah. How many successes we
One
get?
success, no, yes, one success, one fail.
One complication or
No, 15.
just a 50, yeah. So, right. So, what I'm going to say with that is you can basically kind of like create a temporary like thing here, where probably Damian like scoots away from Kara, his mother, and like looks to you, who's bleeding out, and just doesn't know what to do in this situation. But he's gonna basically kind of become a lot more defensive, so getting to him might be a bit harder, right? Like he was totally stunned and surprised by everything happening. It happened too quick, but now his mind is starting to catch up, and he's processing this all. And he like backs away from Kara. He probably snatches up like a knife from the fallen guard and like holds it feebly. But you also, you can see that he's going to take that from your kind of like revealing this information.
That's fair.
Yeah. Being a statement, I think that Kara or Jade, what do you guys want to do?
I mean, do you want to go because it's just this revelation has just happened? Do you do something?
Is the result of my secret relevant anymore, given that someone just beat me to the punch?
Well, maybe, yeah, exactly. I would say that at this point it is perhaps too late. If you had been the one to tell Damian what, the truth, if you had like confided it into him privately, you probably could have had more influence. But now this has been revealed like against your will. It's gonna be a lot harder to control him now. Subtly control him. His trust falls to Dr. Luca rather than yourself. And he probably moves over to you, Luca, and he's like protecting you with the knife. Like he's like, you're kind of like bleeding and he's like holding on to you and like protecting you.
You're both dead.
Yeah, probably. Not gonna lie.
Dead as hell.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, so now it's a case of like, Damian is still the heir, your mission is there, but like now that he knows, it's going to be a lot harder.
I guess I would turn to Damian and be like, it is true. I am your true mother. But know that I will do anything to protect you. The bloodline must be secured.
Yeah. He seems to like look at you. He looks towards Kyle, who's like advancing at this.
Your house will fall.
Yeah. If your actions, you say the words, they reach him. They're not going to have an immediate effect. If you want to do something else, like if you want to try and fight Kyle, or if you want to try and grab Damian and run for it, like the door is now open.
I will once again use the voice,
Okay.
but I'm going to tell Kyle. Should I do it again?
I'm going to say if you do
Yeah,
it again, it's going to be
not as-
easier for him to resist,
Yeah.
because I'm going to say that because you're not a pout, you have the voice, but the more you use it, it maybe Kyle is going to become more resistant to it. It's going to be easier for him to resist it.
What does a damper do?
The damper.
Where's the equipment? Yeah.
It should be there somewhere.
194.
There you go.
I'm
Because you don't have your Chris knife anymore.
I don't have my Chris knife anymore. Blooming gross
Glad you
dude is
could
just
do that
that
one.
gross dude is just wandering around the house.
There is one blade left from the guard that Kyle killed. There were 2 blades from the guards that Kyle
I do also have a hunter seeker of my own, but I feel that this is not the subtle situation in which to deploy
You
it.
have to control
Yeah, I
it
have to be
remote
like,
control.
hold on a
Yeah,
minute.
there's no way you're going to be able to
hold
use
on.
this in this kind of
Hold
Hunter
on.
Seeker duel.
Yeah.
Get 2 of them.
Just really slow.
like a joust.
Anyway, I'm going to actually. I don't know if this would work. Can I try and get Damian to leave the room with me? So
You can try.
get away from.
Yep. Communicate. You're going to basically this is trying to convince him to run with you, basically
So
run for it.
I'm not going to use the voice. I'm just going to be,
Okay.
I'm just going to be like,
Sure.
please, son, this is dangerous. Please come with me.
Make a communicate, and then your drive of choice
Communicate is
is going to be slightly harder. I'm going to add +1 to the difficulty because Damien doesn't quite trust you anymore.
maybe
Where are you going?
truth. You will know me by my deeds.
There's no way you can
Yeah,
go.
but that's your drive statement. So yeah, your drive statement applies. He does know that you will protect him. He just is now doesn't fully trust you like you kept.
Think about it, Lady Kara. I got the shutter doors closed, and I know the access codes.
I negotiated for them to be opened.
Oh yeah? You really
Help.
think that worked?
Help is coming.
With who?
The Harkonnens.
They work with me.
What did you get success wise?
I'm still truth-sayering. Is that true?
What the Harkonnens are working with them?
Yeah.
No, it's not true. Not fully. You know that technically it is true because they supplied the access codes and they gave them information, but they're not actively trying to kill you. They just gave Eris what Eris wanted.
Oh no, it was more his last statement of the Harkonnens are working with me.
Yeah, no, it's not quite true. Kind of true, but not true.
Remember who it is you speak lies to.
And you are a little bit still sicky from that because of the.
I am a little
The
bit
mum of a
sick.
sickly child. The last of the bloodline. Be dead today.
Will you just shut up? Will you just hurry up and bleed to death, please? 14 and a 17.
So no successes at all, or just one.
Sorry, you said it was a.
It would be difficulty 3, unfortunately, because of the distrust. No, he looks at you. He's like, if you truly mean what you say, fight for me. I am the head of this house. Fight for me. And he is backing out, but he's not going with you.
Okay.
He's gonna help Luke about. He's moving slowly, but he's basically saying, prove yourself by fighting for me.
And I will just say, I am yours to command,
Yep.
Damian.
Okay. All right. So.
And I'll turn back to Carl.
Yeah, you turn back to Carl, so that's the kind of thing. So Jade, you see all this is happening, but you've also, this drone is focusing on you. This hunter-killer is trying to get you. What do you want to do? But you also see that this is happening.
You're getting some popcorn out. Just drama.
The dart.
I want to shoot him again.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe a Mauler pistol can, it's hard to penetrate shields, but it can.
Is he? Gosh.
He has got a shield on, yeah, he's the sword master, of course he's got a shield.
Slow blade.
Yeah, you need the slow blade to finish him off. But you can do it. You can shoot at him. It's just harder.
Ow.
But it would be a battle plus drive if you want to try and do that.
Sure, I've been holding my belly this whole time as if I've been
So
stabbed.
I have
Because I have actually stabbed you under the table.
got one of my talents is intense study. So once per scene, I can use my understand skill on a test instead of my other ones. So I can, and I am counted as having a focus for that test.
Yeah, great.
So I can use understand instead of battle.
And you count as having a focus, so you might get crits. Successes. Great, that sounds awesome. I love the idea that, like, in all of your training with, like, all the information gathering, the theatre, things like that, you have also secretly been studying, you know, the arts of, like, because a mortar pistol, by the way, it uses, like, compressed air and spring to fire, like, a dart or, like, a bolt rather than, like, a bullet. So, like, you've been practicing with this, like, anti-assassin weapon, basically. So this is understanding counts as having a focus with whatever drive you think works.
Probably justice.
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 So for this, we need to determine the difficulty, which is Kyle. Because this is a mortar pistol, this isn't a melee weapon, this is probably going to be move, because you need to, like, dodge, basically.
I've got full body control with this one, baby.
All right.
6.
And then what drive would you like to use for it?
I would like to use
Power. Yeah, sounds good.
14.
So, you're just determining the difficulty with this, and your focus.
5 and a 17.
The 5 is under your move.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that is actually 2 successes. So it's going to be difficulty 2, plus you have a shield for 3.
3.
But you are also heavily weakened, so I'm going to take 1
2.
away. So 2, difficulty 2, you need to beat.
Can I add their momentum to it?
They don't have any
don't have
momentum, I
it.
don't think so, and I have no threat, so we're burnt out.
Cool.
See what you get. Got to be difficulty 2, 2 successes or more. But you can get crits because it's on. You've got focuses. So
You got this.
2 successes.
Hell yeah.
are they focuses? Are they underneath your understanding value?
Both are, no.
So it's just dead
2
even.
successes.
So we watch as, like, you turn and, you know, ignoring the hunter killer, like, this thing might kill you, but you're like, no, I have a job to do. And as he rushes towards the Bene Gesserit, you know, picking up this blade, desperate to fire, you just hear, and you try and dodge the side, but that wound just catches you. And the bolt strikes you in the chest, throws you up against the wall, blood splatters everywhere, Kyle. Your vision begins to glow dark as you see that montage, that kind of flashback of being sent as a child from House Eris, the bastard son, you know, completely ostracized and humiliated and sent as an orphan, like, you know, under a new name to go and infiltrate House Dionysius, the ones who betrayed you, the ones who sold your information and revealed your parentage that caused the downfall of the house, you know, befriending Duke Isaac, watching Damian grow, learning and training the soldiers, all for this day when the plan would come to fruition and you would strike, and just watching it as these 3 begin to move out and make their way, desperately fighting off the hunter-killer as...
His face twitches as he slides down the wall, and as his eyes go still, just a single tear rolls down his cheek.
Oh.
And he's just stunned.
At that point, all of you manage to, you know, the shutters are opened, reinforcements arrive from the house, and you guys make your way out. As you have successfully protected the heir, perhaps not without some lasting damage done, perhaps now the Bene Gesserit will not have such control over House Dionysius. They will be more on their independent to do so, and things can be fixed. But yeah, you guys successfully protected the heir, and that is where we are going to end things. As we see the final shot, as you make your way out of the tower onto a shuttle. You fly up to the immense Highliner, the weird oblong-shaped ship, but we see the golden planet of Arrakis. And as I said, ambition is the greatest sin of the Imperium, and some houses perhaps reach too high for vengeance, and some houses and some factions reach too high for control. But that is the nature of the Imperium, and that is going to be our little one-shot today. Well done! Just before we wrap up, very well done, Trot. Trot was obviously, as you can guess, he was kind of in on it.
That was amazing.
Assassin.
I love that we thought it was a joke, and then we're like, wait,
Wait, what?
It's one of those things where like I don't often like doing like the hidden traitor in the players, but I thought for a one shot in Dune, it's the perfect opportunity to do it.
It was very good.
And then I reached out to Kim. I told you a little bit about your secret about like you actually being Damian's real mother, because I thought that'd be a fun way of like the Bene Gesserit control and stuff like that.
It makes sense. Like,
But what you didn't know is that because a Suk Doctor, who was probably one raised from a young baby and would be able to tell the difference between babies that were swapped around, Dr. Luca had known for a long time that Damian was actually your son, and was afraid that
DNA tests.
and was afraid that the Bene Gesserit was controlling them, and so hadn't revealed it yet.
I like though that in my secret you literally use the word disposed of the real son.
That is up to you to decide. That could just be like you ship them off to another planet. Like,
So
right?
I straight up swapped the babies and was like,
That's up to you how you dispose of it. And then for Katie, I gave you a choice, and I'm assuming that you went with the no secret choice.
Yeah, I kept looking at it a few times, and I was like, if it comes up to a place
Sure,
that
then you can make
it'll
it
fit,
work.
then I will. But
Yeah.
it was an information gathering.
Well, it was, but there was an element that you didn't know, is that whole thing of if you read it, you had been trading information
About House Heiress.
and that information was in fact the reason that long ago Kyle was exiled, because it was you and your family's fault that was responsible for it. Yeah, they were the ones who were responsible for House Heiress's.
Don't you say anything to me, baby swapper.
the bloodline.
Very cool.
The bloodline must be ensured. Yeah, exactly.
Very good.
Great job.
Great job, everybody. No, that was fun. And like I said, very cool system, some really interesting stuff. There's some stuff we can get into because it's only a 3-hour one
Really
shot.
scratch the surface.
Man, there's a whole thing, because like dueling is like a big part in the Dune universe, right? So that the combat system, the way it works is if it's a one-on-one fight, rather than it being like zones of like an area of a room or a building, the zones are like your left hand, your right hand, and your body, and you have to like decide what weapon is in what hand, and you can like try and disarm people, and it's kind of really cool. And there's some cool stuff about like using las guns and shields and warfare. There's like whole rules for like massive, big scale battles and stuff as well.
But imagine getting into that.
Very cool. Very
That'd be
cool.
nuts.
Really love this.
Very fun
Really
intrigue.
enjoyed it.
And thank you very much, Modifius, and our good friends at Modifius. Thank you for sponsoring Dune Adventures in the Imperium. This has been a really fun one shot. You will find out in chat who's won this bad boy.
Check your DMs as well, because we'll contact you through Twitch DMs.
Yes.
So do if you missed who won.
Oh, I got a message.
Yeah, just.
This isn't live, so we can't tell you who the winner is. Yeah, but yeah,
Spoiler.
hopefully one of you has won this gorgeous limited edition book. And thank you once again to Modifius for sponsoring this. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've had a ton of fun.
It was great.
Until next time, the spice must flow.
The spice must flow.
The Muad'Dib! He speaks!
Yeah, we're back. As I mentioned, this was not live. We pre-recorded because obviously we're doing a lot of one-shots at the minute, and we want to make sure we've got it all and we can clear it all up and stuff. We've been busy, but yeah, we hope you really enjoyed this. It's been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Really, it's always nice. I love playing different systems and doing these little one-shots because it really does teach you a lot. There's some really fun stuff in here.
Just do it well.
Yeah,
very well.
I think
really
like
their 2D to 20 system. I
it
think
really
it works
really well, and it's like really consistent, and like it's got some fun stuff. I think it takes a little bit of time to like wrap your head around, like, and for me as a GM, like running a combat, because it's not like running a combat in like another game, and like, but I think once you get your head around it and you really understand it, you could do some really cool stuff. I really love the way that like the initiative works, and like the moving assets subtly or boldly, and like if you do it subtly, you get to like keep the initiative because you're still in control. But if you fuck up a dice roll, you lose control, and then the enemy get to do stuff. Like, I really like that. I think it's really
And
cool.
the throwing it around system was really fun as well.
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Check out the link in description to this adventure.
Yes.
System. If you would like to try it, Mark is just...
He's gone. He's
I want
spiced
spice!
out. He's spiced
Spiced!
out. Yeah. But yeah, click that link, and thank you to Modifius.
Yeah.
We love it.
We love it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye!